The Force is what gives the Jedi his power. It's an energy field created by all living things. It surrounds us and penetrates us. It binds the galaxy together.
Fear is the path to the dark side. Fear leads to anger. Anger leads to hate. Hate leads to suffering.
I am a Jedi, like my father before me.
All right, hello everyone, and welcome to the Legends Library. Of course, I am Cade, and after a 5.5 month absence, awayness, missingness, Tristan has finally come back to us for today.
What are you talking about? I'm extremely consistent on this podcast.
Yeah, well, he's been here every time. He's just lurking in the background.
I say nothing.
Yeah. He just breathes.
Yes.
And then, of course, today actually is our first time having the three of us on all at once. So Keith is also joining us today.
Hello.
Yeah, hot off his answers to the Star Wars questionnaire episode that you should definitely check out if you haven't already. But today, obviously, we are going to be talking about season 2 of The Mandalorian and our general thoughts on it. We're about, oh god, when did the final episode come out?
Mid-December?
Well, it was the week before
Christmas.
Week before Christmas. So
Yeah.
we're coming at it about a month late, but you know, I think it took Tristan and I about a similar length of time to finally do the Rise of Skywalker review last year. So, you know, it sticks. You know, if something comes out in December, we're gonna cover it very quickly and very promptly the next month.
Starting off the year strong. You need the holidays and everything, and well,
Yeah, the holidays, New Year's.
not that Mandalorian and Rise of Skywalker have really taken a while to process.
No, well, I would say, yeah, definitely not that. So, I mean, I just would, without any further ado, we'll save our big, like our big thoughts for the end of it. We will just hop in to, well, episode 1 of the season, but I guess it's episode 9, chapter 9, whatever of the whole thing, and that is the, it's chapter 9, The Marshal. This one was directed and written by Favreau, and basically, Mando, Din, shows up to a way too old West town, and they have to fight a crate dragon because the Marshal, because, you know, how on the nose can they be that it's a old West town, has Boba Fett's armor, and they basically just have to kill a crate dragon. So what were you guys' kind of thoughts on this one, on this first episode?
Another video game side quest episode.
Yeah, I suppose, yeah.
Why spend time doing the main plot when we can have wacky adventures?
Yeah,
It's fun. It's fun.
it would be more fun if the crate dragon wasn't a worm.
I really enjoyed the episode. I thought it was cool. You know, yeah, it's pretty on the nose with the Old West stuff. Mando basically rolls into town on a speeder with no name. And yeah, basically the whole thing just ends up being like the old, you know, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. And everybody's got to team up in a big, grand movie fashion to take down the giant monster.
Yeah, and
The Mando with no name.
yeah, the Mando with
If
no
you
name.
will.
Well, he does have a name.
Shh. We have to make references to the Western. Stop it.
Good pun though.
Yeah, no,
Thank you,
that
thank
was
you.
good. But no, so, well, Tristan, I was more curious, definitely curious about like what your thoughts would have been, because I know you're a big fan of like the Tuskens and their culture and everything. So, like, what did you think
I
of
fucking
them?
love Tusken.
Yeah, exactly. So, what did you think of them working with like the settlers just because the Mando knows sign language? And what do you think of them using sign language?
Okay, first of all, sign language is fucking dumb for Tusken Raiders because we, even in the first movie, like they never use it.
Noises.
Yeah, they obviously communicate verbally, and they communicate with each other in A New Hope, and never once use hand gestures. They haven't in any of the books or any of the video games that they've appeared in. So it's just this random thing where Favreau is like, all right, they speak with their hands now. So,
maybe they didn't want Mando to be making like dumb Tusken Raider noises, you know? It's
very
not
fair.
gonna look too cool doing that.
Well, that's why you get an HK-47 assassin droid.
Yeah, literally, that's what I was thinking the entire time when they started like signing to each other. I'm like, why don't they just go get a protocol droid? Like they're all over the galaxy. Like, couldn't Mando's
as much as this
like
show evolves into a video game side quest, they could very easily just pick up a droid.
yeah, like wouldn't Mando's like crack addict mechanic friend on Tatooine have one?
Yeah.
It's kind of random that Mando knows how to speak Tusken Raider, and he's like familiar with like Tusken Raider animals for some reason.
He did it. I think he did it in the first season as well, because this
He
is like
he
the third
does.
time we've been back to Tatooine.
Yeah, and well, of course you have to go back to Tatooine. It's what everyone
naturally.
does.
But it kind of messes with Tusken Raider culture too. Not just the sign language, but the fact that like using speeders, because Tusken Raiders, obviously this is from Legends, and canon's very selective about what it wants to steal from Legends, but
yes,
Tuskens are supposed to hate technology, and like literally using a speeder like taints the desert to them. So, and they're like way too agreeable with people just hopping on speeders and like charging into their camp and saying, "Hey, we'll help you take down the crate dragon," when it's supposed to be like a really traditional thing for Tuskens.
Yeah, and
Like,
I think I don't know. I think it definitely doesn't work like the Tuskens. Like with everything we know about the Tuskens, like you're absolutely right. Like they should not like team up with this group of settlers. Like it seems a little too like you said, Tristan. Like it seems a little too video game side questy. Where like if this was like a video game, that would be like the optional objective of like, oh, get the two unhappy people to work together. So. And
it took Revit a lot of effort to get a deal for them to stop attacking villagers and settlers.
Well,
but like,
does it though? Because he just has to get the vaporators.
Okay, look, it just acts like a long time because you had to deal with Gamorreans pretending to be dead.
Yeah,
crying women.
Yeah,
but regardless.
No, like, I know what you mean. Like and yeah, you're right. It's like too agreeable, and like it seems like they're gonna end up like. Like integrating into their society, which like you're right. It doesn't make sense for Tuskens for them to be able to do that.
It's supposed to be a traditional thing too. Like Sharad Head and Asharad like go to kill a crate dragon together, and it's like part of the ritual as a Tusken to kill one and like rip out the pearl. And I do like the reference to the crate dragon pearl. I'm glad they kept that. But otherwise, they really shouldn't just be picking up arms with random villagers who they should be hating.
Yeah, and well, I guess the other thing. Oh, sorry, Keith. What were you gonna say?
Oh, well, I won't pretend to be as like well versed in the Tusken Raider lore as you guys, but I've always gotten the idea from in the movies at least that Tusken Raiders are pretty unruly. Like they're called Tusken Raiders because they raid people and stuff like that. So they're not too agreeable. Is what it seemed like in the movies and Legends and comics, stuff like that.
Well, even like in episode 2, they talk about how they're like straight up monsters, and before Anakin names them,
yeah. And I guess my last little tidbit on this is it doesn't make sense that the Mandalorians would be able to communicate in a sign language that is designed for Galactic Basic, because I don't know if you guys know, but obviously like in America, like when we use sign language and stuff, it's American Sign Language. Like every other language like has a sign language. Like if I remember right, there's basically just sign language for like every language. Like I think there's like obviously because our words would be different. So like like there's I'm pretty sure there's French sign language, I believe, and then even other countries like just on Earth, on our world, have their own variations of like sign language. So for the Tuskens and Din Mando to be able to like communicate, especially not being able to speak the same language, is very.
Well, I mean, I thought the Tusken Sign Language was like their own thing. and
Wait,
Din just
might
like
be
figured
worse.
out how to learn it or something, or how to.
Because why would Din know sand
Yeah,
people?
it's kind of dumb if you think about
Well,
it. It's like,
because when you put it like that, it ends up with the same thing that you brought up, Keith. Like, how does he know how to speak Tuscan? And then on
it's
top
supposed
of
to be like
that,
a cool like cowboy kind of thing, you know. He's like a
yeah,
He can communicate with the Native Americans.
yeah, except Native Americans like could speak English
Mhm.
by the time of like the Old West. So I don't know. It's
It's
everything
just
would
a
have been.
means of
Oh,
getting
wait,
the plot to move
did they
along.
yeah, I
have, like, a
definitely
peace
agree.
pipe thing,
Yeah.
right? They did like a peace pipe thing in the episode,
Yeah,
right?
they
When
did. They
had,
literally,
one of
yeah,
them break, like,
because Din didn't want to take his helmet off. So
right.
Yeah.
so yeah. Do you guys have
But I
any
don't want to
more?
harp on Tuscan too long.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely. I was gonna say, are you guys about finished up? Is there anything else we need to mention for the first episode?
Oh, I liked the
Boba-
flashback sequence with Timothy Olyphant. I liked it.
I really like him as an actor. He's in Scream 2, which is one of my favorite movies, so I'm a big fan of him.
I had no idea that who he was or anything. So yeah, the flashback was fine. It seemed a little. I don't know. Tristan, I think you might have coined it, but it seemed very video gamey. Like, oh, I was gonna die, but then I didn't, and I bought this armor.
That's the entire show, in fairness. But Boba's armor looks pretty good. In this, at least. And I like the red accents that he's wearing. But obviously, it's not Boba because, one, he takes the helmet off. Two, he's too skinny. And
Boba.
three, he admits not. He made, like, you know it's not Boba.
Yeah.
But we have the weird Mandalorian thing where it's like, I can't take off my helmet because I won't be a Mandalorian, even though we've seen Mandalorians take off their helmets all the time.
Well,
It gets explained
obviously,
later.
yeah, I was gonna say, obviously, we'll get to that. All right, yeah. I mean, I also, actually, I'm not even sure that I enjoyed it. I think I watched it and I wasn't bored, but I think that's about it. That's about it for me. Tristan,
Yeah,
I guess what were your kind of overall
the
thoughts
same,
on? Yeah. All right. So that then obviously is going to lead us to chapter 10, episode 2 of of season 2, which is The Passenger, which
It's everybody's favorite episode.
yeah, it's definitely the fan favorite, the most loved of the episode. But no, obviously for reality here, it's probably, as far as I've seen online, is definitely probably everyone's least favorite, which I don't know. It might be my controversial opinion for the episode. Well, no, I'll definitely get more controversial later, pertaining to a certain character. But no, so chapter 10 here, it was directed by Peyton Reed, written by Jon Favreau, and basically Mandalorian takes a frog lady and her clutch of eggs.
Straight frog lady.
The what frog lady?
He's just a straight frog.
Oh yeah.
Just a big frog.
Well, I remember I did see one person, and granted, this is my fault because I went on a Facebook comment section for a Star Wars picture, and so of course I was bound I was just bound to see something stupid. But they were mad that she looked like a frog. It's like, it's Star Wars. Like, the Quarren are literally just bipedal squid faces, and the Mon Calamari are just big fish. So I don't know. The design of Frog Lady does not bother me.
And I think she's cute.
And I was going to say, I really like frogs too, so...
Me too. And I prefer it over some of the other designs they're coming up with.
I'm okay with it. I guess I'm not okay with her just being called a frog.
Yeah,
I mean... Name. Oh, yeah, they call her a frog in the show, don't they?
They do, yeah.
Like, in the subtitles, the language is called frog.
Oh, really? That's funny.
Yeah.
I didn't watch it with subtitles, but now I might go back. That's kind of funny, yeah.
And Peyton Reed, I should say, is the director of Ant-Man and the Wasp, which I think is arguably one of the worst MCU films. I haven't seen it myself.
She also
but
directed
I'm going
the season 2 finale of this show.
Oh,
fuck, that's right. They committed him the worst person.
So I guess, yeah. So here, I guess season 2 is the Peyton Reed redemption arc.
Right.
Because she directs this episode, and then about a month later, the finale comes out, and everyone is raving about it. But no, so basically, plot of it is Frog Lady needs to get from Tatooine to a moon where her husband is, and then they will obviously continue their they'll fertilize their clutch of eggs. And then she's supposed to have information on Mandalorians, right? Like that's why he's doing this.
Yes. So it's basically just an essential, really bad Skyrim side quest where the NPC, you have to walk with the NPC, but the NPC doesn't know what they're doing, and a bunch of wolves come out and attack you constantly.
Yeah, and I didn't understand. I don't know if it bothered you guys or not, but I really didn't like that they had to travel at sublight speeds because the eggs are fragile. But like anytime we've seen like people jump to light speed in Star Wars, like as long as they're like buckled into their their seat, like they're fine. So I don't
And
know.
especially like as soon as they're in hyperspace, they can just walk around the ship freely.
Exactly.
So it doesn't really make sense at all. It's just
It
for the
didn't
sake
bother
of
me too
plot.
much. I can kind of understand like, oh, hyperspace will hurt the eggs for whatever reason. Like, yeah, that could be a thing. But as far as like the quest thing, she basically she knows a guy who knows a guy. That's
That's what it was. But no, so basically, since they have to travel at sublight speeds, they get confronted by some X-wings who they shoot him down basically because Mando is wanted by the New Republic because obviously in the previous season they did that prison break. So he ends up crashing on the ship, and then Baby Yoda eats a bunch of eggs.
I will say this is a nice change of scenery. I'm glad we're not looking at a desert.
Yeah, no, that was nice. And I thought the like atmosphere of the episode did do like a really good job of like conveying like a creepy kind of like foreboding atmosphere. Maybe it's just because they were like in ice caves, which
yeah,
is
no, kind of like a survival kind of thing.
Yeah, and then obviously, a bunch of spiders start hatching, which is disgusting. I am super arachnophobic, which does not make sense because I live in a ridiculously northern climate. I live in the upper Midwest, so we do not have poisonous spiders, but the fact that spiders exist is apparently just something that terrifies me.
I'm pretty sure they are the Marth Macquarie spiders that are supposed to be like on Dagobah.
Yep, that is true because for some reason Star Wars after like 2014 loves to put in Ralph McQuarrie concept art, which I think is just okay. Like I don't know, I'm not a huge like concept art fan,
okay
so yeah.
I would say there's a reason why a lot of his stuff hasn't been put into film.
Yes,
it's not
exactly.
But at the same time, I do have a soft spot for Ralph McQuarrie.
Yeah, it's definitely.
So I don't mind it.
Yeah.
I feel like we kind of got a little too ahead here though, because we kind of missed out talking about the scene where they're like asking Mando to like do a ping and stuff because he's like flying without his transponder on.
Yep.
I like that. I like that whole little tense situation there.
Yeah, it was basically just a Star Wars traffic stop, which I guess would kind of probably happen a lot with, all the smugglers that run around and everything. So it is kind of nice that we actually get to see that on film for once.
Yeah,
or on film, on TV, I guess.
It established the New Republic as an entity.
Well, I mean, it's not like it's been established at all.
Anything else?
Anything else, yeah. It gets blown up in Episode 7.
Yeah, and this kind of like way of like not showing like everything that's going on. You just kind of like because they're like on the edge of New Republic space, pretty much.
Mm-hmm. I don't care about it because I don't care about the New Republic at all in this continuity, but I do appreciate the effort to pretend that it actually exists.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. And then, so basically, Mando and Baby Yoda run away back onto their ship, and they're like holed up in there. And then the X-Wing pilots just for some reason show up because I guess they felt bad for shooting Din down. And even though he was a wanted criminal, so apparently they feel bad. I don't know. And they show up and they kill all the spiders with their blasters, which I thought was weird because there was like 1 billion of them.
Yeah, not the best and most sophisticated way to end an episode, but yeah.
Well, would have maybe been a little better if there was like a whole squad of New Republic troopers, but it's the 2 X-Wing pilots who then just are able to bullseye every single spider, and then basically they're like, oh, well, since you helped apprehend the people you worked with on the prison break, we're gonna drop the arrest warrant, and you're just gonna get a warning.
And then they leave him to die. Frozen.
And then yeah, leave him to finish his repairs, because he asked him, right? He's like, oh, can you help me with these repairs? And they're like, no, fuck off.
And then they leave.
And then
He
they
basically has
so-
to rebuild the ship with spit and scotch tape.
yeah, and which is a shame because the Razor Crest looks cool, and now it doesn't look cool.
Yeah.
It reminds me of Jester Morill's ship in Bounty Hunter. How like Django just driving around this massive rust bucket that has all its issues and really needs an upgrade, but it's a nice ship. I do like the Razor Crest.
Yeah,
And I
I
do
like
like
what he
Baby
gets put
Yoda.
through this season.
Yeah.
yeah, it's very sad what it goes through. So, my overall
What a
thoughts.
nice ship. I hope nothing bad happens to it.
Yeah. So, I mean, my overall thoughts for The Passenger, I didn't think it was as terrible as everyone said. Like, I don't care if that's controversial. Like, I don't know. Like, it's like we talked about. Like, the change of scenery was really nice. Like, the spiders and all that, like, give, like, a good non-human threat, because, like, most of the time, that's what, in Star Wars, what we end up running into. Like, we don't ever run into, like, these, creepy crawlies or whatever. Like, obviously in A New Hope, we have the Dianoga in the trash compactor, and
Wampa and
the
Empire.
the Wampa,
the Ewoks.
the Ewoks.
Yeah, weird, scary creatures are a staple of Star Wars, definitely.
Yeah, so it's good to have. I don't know. I like that you get something like this, kind of like, not necessarily like a horror like movie kind of vibe, but like definitely like a nice like offsetting kind of like creepy vibe. As
It's horror
opposed,
for you, Kate.
Yeah.
well, it's a horror movie for me because I'm terrified of spiders. So
And
yeah.
horror films.
And
So this
horror
is about as scary as it
and
gets
yeah,
for you.
I am terrified of horror films too. So, but no, overall, like this episode, I didn't think was like inoffensive. I thought it was pretty inoffensive, and honestly,
It feels
like
like
I think
it
I
feels
might.
like more of the same.
Yeah, I think I kind of prefer it over Chapter 9. I guess that I don't know.
Definitely, a bottle episode and pretty much nothing going on story wise, but I do
That's
like
most
kind
of
of
the
how like
show.
it connects. It's like kind of, even though these are like filler episodes, they are connecting from one episode to the next with like story stuff. I do appreciate that.
Yeah, and as far as connecting goes, I think it's kind of nice that a protagonist in Star Wars has to deal with these consequences for actually doing something illegal.
Yeah, and you get ship problems and like travel problems that aren't, oh, we're running out of fuel or whatever, or we're out of space gas.
Or parking in the wrong spot.
Yeah, or
Yeah,
parking on the beach.
God.
But yeah, inoffensive episode. More of the same, really. I don't understand why people hate it so much. It's just another filler episode.
Yeah, I'm fine with criticizing it. Like, criticize it, but don't hate it. It's a little much there.
Yeah,
Mhm.
all right. So we're all in agreement. Everyone loves Frog Lady.
Yes, Frog Lady is very cute.
Yeah, I want a Frog Lady trilogy. Let's do it.
All right, I'm in.
Kevin Feige's next film, Star Wars Frog Lady.
Then that brings us to Chapter 11, The Heiress, and this was directed by Bryce Dallas Howard, written by Jon Favreau, and basically, Frog Lady meets back up with her husband. They presumably have disgusting frog sex, and I suppose they wouldn't because the eggs are already laid. I'm assuming it's like a fish.
Frog
But-
sex
He
is
just
like
jacked
laying
off
eggs
onto
and,
the
like,
egg.
yeah.
Yeah, so no, we get that, and then this is where it feels very video gamey, because they tell Mandalorian to go to a tavern where they can find a guy who will give them information on other Mandos, and then they meet that guy. And then they end up the people that they talk to bring them up to this boat, and
there's Mandos out in the middle of the ocean.
yeah, and then they like trap him and everything because they're like gonna like strip him of his armor and sell the armor off, and then there's like a spooky sea monster involved.
That almost eats Grogu.
Baby Yoda, he doesn't have a name yet. Idiot.
Yeah,
Silly.
That would have been his karma, though. Getting eaten.
Oh yeah, of course. Vengeance for the Raw.
Yeah.
For all those baby frogs.
But he gets an incident with the Corrin, and then bitch Katan shows up.
Whoa.
Yeah, whoa.
I really do not like this character at all.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm not a huge.
I'll let you say your pieces.
I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of like the Clone Wars, but I don't know. I think Bo-Katan like came off. I don't remember what she was like in the Clone Wars, honestly. I remember she had the really dumb thing with Maul, where Maul is like, "I'm gonna beat Vizsla and become leader of Mandalore," and then Bo-Katan says no and leaves, even though it doesn't make sense. So I remember that being really dumb. But
that's why I hate her, because she's such an entitled bitch. Because she was like, okay, I'm only saying this because it's important for context. But Pre Vizsla challenges Maul to a duel, or vice versa, rather. And Pre Vizsla accepts and starts kicking Maul's ass. And Bo-Katan's like, okay, I'm fine with this. And she's like even smiling as they do a fine duel. And then Maul lobs his head off, and then she has a problem with it. And fucks off with the other traitorous Mandalorians because no outsider will ever rule Mandalore. So, this bitch has like no honor to begin with. So like, fuck her. And I'll have more to say about this later with the whole Darksaber deal.
Yeah,
But I'll have some more to say as well.
Yeah,
so do not like Bo-Katan.
I don't know. I didn't think. Yeah, I completely forgot about that when I was watching it because honestly, I care so little about the Clone Wars. And I also hate Maul ruling Mandalore, so I double forget about it. So no. So then we end up again, like Tristan was very, hitting the nail right on the head here. Another video game quest where she's like, "Well, I'll help you now if we get the stuff from this freighter that we need, and then I'll tell you where to find Jedi." So then they do that, and it's like a fun action scene, like watching them like take over the freighter. Like I thought it was fun.
The directing bothered me a little bit. I'm not sure what it was, but I didn't like the exact way they were shooting.
Like how so? Like just like angles or
like lots of shots of them like pretty much with just their face and the gun in frame and then just shooting, but you don't get to like see what they're shooting.
Yeah, but you know what they're shooting.
Yeah, but like I like to see them. I like to see the troopers getting nailed.
I guess.
I didn't have a problem with the directing in this. I did have one in the next chapter, but we can talk about it then.
Yeah, no, but so basically, more or less, they end up getting to the bridge, and Bo-Katan asks about the Darksaber, and the like captain of the freighter like kills himself.
He commits die and like Star Wars cyanides himself.
Oh yeah, an electronic
cyanide because it's sci-fi, so it has to be electric.
Yeah, I thought that was a little silly. However,
you can say like "Long live the Emperor" or something before he did that.
The Empire. It gives you some nice incentive into Moff Gideon, and it kind of gives you like this air about him. Like, okay, Moff Gideon's pretty cool. Like, he's wielding the Darksaber. He's after Baby Yoda for reasons we don't know yet, and he's talking about Baby Yoda in this way. Like, he's so important to me, and it's kind of like setting him up as an antagonist that I really like. It's disappointing as fuck later, but we can talk about that later.
Yeah. I will say one thing I like, kind of in general, just about this season, and again, like we'll talk about some more Moff Gideon stuff later, obviously. But I like with some of the smaller scale stuff that they're doing, I like that the ship they're boarding isn't like, it's not like a Star Destroyer, it's not like a super huge ship. It's like a small, like it's a Gonzati cruiser, which I thought was really cool. That they're not like, oh, there's an Imperial Star Destroyer in orbit. If you help us do that, I like that it's like a smaller scale thing, because whenever
No, it
we
should
see
not be a Star Destroyer.
it's not that it shouldn't be a Star Destroyer. Well, it shouldn't be, but it's not that it's that. It's that whenever we see the Empire in the movies, all we ever get is Star Destroyer, Super Star Destroyer, and then the TIE fighters.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, and then I guess a lot,
Imperial shuttles.
and the Lambdas, yeah.
Yeah.
So we either get their biggest big ships or their starfighters and transports. So I just thought it was nice to show that, yeah, well, especially like the Remnant, like they don't have a lot of big ships. So that's my kind of little thing. I
No,
like
nor
that
should they.
it's exactly. I like that at
Yeah.
a smaller scale Empire, because
Yeah.
that's one thing that I always I guess I will say about like Legends of the EU is that the Empire has, like, even after Endor, which I guess makes sense in Legends because they don't have the whole stupid Battle of Jakku, but like the Empire still has like 8 bajillion Star Destroyers.
It
But
makes sense with how massive the galaxy is and how much you would need
yeah,
to
that's true.
reinforce it. But at the same time, you don't really feel like the rebels accomplished anything.
Yeah. So like I do like that they show that like it's the kind of reversal of the roles where now it's very obvious that, well, I guess not really obvious, but like you can tell that the New Republic is in charge and the Empire's not going to have like Executors class Star Destroyers anymore.
No, they've it's sort of like what I wanted the First Order to be, where it's like more terrorist acts as opposed to being like a large military force.
They basically came around to Heir to the Empire Imperial Remnant, pretty much.
Without Thrawn as a
Without
figurehead.
Thrawn.
Yeah.
But we'll
Yeah.
get to
Yeah,
that
so it's
later.
kind of like scattered resources and probably different people vying for power.
Yeah, so I think
So-
it worked pretty good,
Yeah.
and overall, like I thought I really enjoyed this episode. Like the action I thought was really well done, and I thought that it worked really well, even though again, it is a D&D quest.
It's another passing the baton episode.
Yeah,
It's
and
okay. Yeah. A lot of the show just feels very shallow to me.
Yeah.
So I just think it's okay. And this episode has Bo-Katan in it, so I'm obviously already biased against it.
Yeah.
But other than that, I think it's an okay episode, as is most of the show.
Yeah, definitely just an okay episode. Yeah.
All right, cool. We've upgraded from inoffensive to okay. So it's going places. It's going up. It's going up. All right. So next up is The Siege. This episode was directed by Carl Weathers, who obviously is also in it, and it was written by Jon Favreau. And again, also we forgot to mention, but at the end of the last episode, I don't know how we missed this because apparently we were too busy. Well, it was probably Tristan was too busy shitting on Bo-Katan for us to remember. But at the end of the last episode, Bo-Katan says, "Oh, go to Corvus and Ahsoka Tano will be there."
Ahsoka Tano, my favorite Jedi.
Yeah, but no. So
My
basically,
favorite gray Jedi.
no.
Yeah.
No. But basically, for the Razor Crest to be able to get there, they have to stop and get it like actually repaired because Din is not a mechanic, which I really like. I like that he can't just fix his own ship. Like he patches it together enough to be able to get off, the spider planet.
They had to seal themselves in the cockpit, yeah.
Yep,
Yeah.
exactly. So I really like that, like, because he's not like a Han Solo like type character that can work on his own ship like that. He can do it just enough so he doesn't, die in space.
Yeah, he's a bounty hunter who pays for his ship to get repaired.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
It's very nice.
yeah, so I really like that. Maybe he should have invested in a astromech droid or something. I mean, what a peasant! Come on. So
Well, Ray's
feels
kinda
like
iffy on
somebody-
droids.
yeah. So
Mando
basically,
kind of feels like a D&D character that somebody made up because like you have like only a lot of skills that you can have, so he's not good at everything.
Yeah, so
and
he put all of
usually
his
players are dumbasses, so he is too.
yeah, so he put all of his skill points into obviously like guns
Oh, and armor.
and
Yes.
dexterity so he can shoot his blasters, and forgot to put anything into repair. And but
Exactly.
he did get the special skill for sign language, so no, so
He could
so
speak Tuscan.
yeah, he can speak Tuscan. That's his special skill. But no, so they go to Navarro, which obviously is a planet from the previous season, and they get to meet up with Cara Dune and Grief Karga, obviously from the last season. And
Mhm.
since they've been there, they like the planet is now like super nice. Like it's not as shitty as it was, and that's obviously chalked up to Karga being in charge as he had like a fancy title, not mayor. Anyways,
I don't remember. I
yeah,
just like Carl Weathers.
Magister, yeah. I'm pretty sure that was it because I remember it being like a really kind of over the top title because he's basically just the mayor. And then
It's
Cara,
fitting.
yeah, and then Cara Dune is the marshal. Again, I hate that term because it's too Old West. So,
What
Yeah,
did you
that's
think of the
definitely the going for.
opening scene of her beating Panda Baba ass?
it was fine. Was that
To be
actually
honest, I
Panda
completely
Baba?
forgot.
Oh, sorry, the Aqualish gang. I just couldn't think of the species name.
Yeah, the
Oh,
Aqualish.
okay. I do like that we see more. This is for Mando in general, but we see a lot of classic aliens in it.
Yeah,
Like
I also like
a
that.
lot of Twi'leks.
Right, they don't insert too many of the sequel trilogy aliens.
Well, the thing with the prequels was that they had a lot of new aliens, but they also like sort of put them in like a little bit at a time, so they become iconic along with the new ones or with the
Yeah.
old ones.
Yeah, definitely. Like in Attack of the
Where
Clones, you saw a lot of like classic aliens in like advertisements or just in the bars and stuff, right?
yeah, because you don't see a whole lot of locations in the original trilogy, so you're not going to see every alien in the galaxy. But when you just have a room full of new aliens, it feels like a different galaxy.
Yeah.
So I think Mandalorian does a really nice balance of everything.
Yeah, and that's and it is balanced because we get a new alien sidekick, I guess, for this episode. He's the NPC that comes in. And he's like a fish man, so he has to have his water vest. And I don't know if you guys liked it, but I liked the like jokes and stuff and Karga kind of being a dick to him. Like Dune and Karga are kind of a dick to him. They're like, dude, we're just gonna take your vest if you don't shut up, and you can walk back.
I agree.
Like I don't know.
I like
I thought that was like really good, like comic relief. Like I thought he was a good like he was the comic relief NPC for this.
It really makes me wish that Mandalorian had a consistent cast because Cara Dune and Carl Weathers, I'm just gonna call him Carl Weathers.
Yeah.
Had a really nice dynamic with Mandalorian, with Mando and with Din, and I wish they had like this sort of Avatar thing going instead of like a loner dude with his baby.
Yeah, and I mean, they're probably gonna have to do something more akin to that. I would say, like going forward, obviously with what will happen later. But
I mean,
yep, go on. Yep.
The show's called like The Mandalorian, not like The Mandalorian and Friends, you know, or
Well, Avatar:
want
The Last.
Spider-Man and his amazing
Razor
friends.
Crest, right?
Avatar: The Last Airbender is called Avatar: The Last Airbender, but Aang still
that's
has
true.
his like
That
main,
is a good point.
main group.
You
So
completely demolished my argument.
but no, I will say, and I don't care if everyone hates me. I don't think that the what's the actress for Cara Dune? What's
Gina
Gina?
Carano?
I don't think
Gina
she's
Carano,
that
yeah.
amazing of an actress. Like
Mm.
even
What? The MMA fighter isn't that good of an actress? I am shocked.
yeah, like she's better than Ronda Rousey. Like I don't know if you guys watched the Fast and Furious or anything, but Ronda Rousey's in one of them, and it is awful.
I watched MK11.
Oh yeah, that too. It is.
Oh, I saw her in one of the Expendables movies.
Yeah. I'm Sonya Blade. I kick ass. So it's not like the bar is exceptionally high for former MMA fighters, but I don't know. I don't think she's that great of an actress. Like, even now, her line delivery a lot of times seems really wooden. And I think that works for someone like Din, who isn't like since we were talking about like skill, like he didn't put any of his points into charisma.
Oh, I was gonna say
That's
that.
all.
Yeah, and I don't know.
He went all intimidate.
Yeah, exactly. He went into intimidate, not into like persuasion. And I think it
Mhm.
works. And obviously, Pedro Pascal is just a really good actor. So I think it works a lot better for his character. And it's more, and it's obviously supposed to be intentional. Gina
She's
Carano,
surrounded by like
well,
Pedro Pascal is like a really good actor, and then she's surrounded by people like Carl Weathers, who's very seasoned, has been doing it for
Mhm.
decades.
yeah. So, and I think
Whereas
that might
she's
be it
relatively
too,
new.
where like, since everyone around her is very good, it kind of, her little blemishes and stuff like come out a little more. So I was just gonna say that because in season 1, I really didn't like her, and now in season 2, she's obviously improved, but it's still not like great, and it
Mhm.
still comes across really wooden. And they kind of give her a
She's not immersion breaking bad, but I do notice it a little bit.
yeah, like it's, and I don't think it's anything that is like written for her. I think it's just like her delivery can be really wooden. And then I think later on in the episode she reappears in, it does get worse, but we're kind of sidetracked there because they agree to repair the Razor Crest. But since they're there, there's also a remaining Imperial base because obviously the planet used to be controlled by the Empire. And again,
Naturally.
kind of very, very D&D-ish. They're like, oh, well, since you're here, why don't you help us blow up this
Yeah.
this Imperial base? And of course, Mando says yes. And then as they're going through, they get there, and again, like the action here, I think is really good. It's got like a decent amount of like suspense, even though I feel like these 3 characters, I feel are kind of bulletproof at this point. Like they're not going to die.
Oh, definitely.
So, well, especially not the
Well,
man.
literally, one of them is bulletproof.
Well, yeah, exactly. Mando is bulletproof, yeah. So, no, they go in and they find out that it's a base that's being used by Dr. Pershing, and basically they're just experimenting on the blood that they got from Baby Yoda from the first season because it has a high M count. I'm just gonna say, just say midichlorians. Like, I get it. Like the hardcore OT fanboys who hate midichlorians are like rejoicing that they didn't say midichlorians, but it's midichlorians. Everyone knows it's midichlorians.
Yeah.
Jon Favreau, everyone already likes you for all the stuff that he's made. You can say midichlorians. It's not a swear word. And I think it's a little silly when they say high M count because it just seems like they're trying to avoid it. When I heard that, I was like, "Oh my god, just say it."
I don't
And-
have an issue with midichlorians.
Yeah,
I said Mandalorian. I
Yeah.
don't have one at all.
no. Do you have an issue with midichlorians, Keith?
No, not really. I feel like it's it's like that thing explains the Force, but the Force is still
Yeah.
mysterious stuff. It just explains the way it works.
Yeah, and
I think it was haphazardly done in Phantom Menace, but in other extended media, it's really good.
It's a lot better. Yeah, exactly. But basically, they end up destroying the base, and they get away, and Mando comes in and he saves the day on the Razor Crest is like fixed. It's looking fresh. Got a fresh coat of paint on it. Probably some nice pine air fresheners in it. And he ends up blowing up the TIE fighters. I thought that was a really cool scene. I don't know. I like starship combat. It's always cool to see. So
Yeah, dark fights are very nice.
Yeah. I noticed this with some of the shooting scenes in this episode, and it kind of happens on some of the other episodes of The Mandalorian, where like they'll have shooting scenes and it's just like dead silent, like there's no like music or anything. And I just think sometimes the show could use a little fanfare when the shooting is happening to kind of make it more actiony.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of misses out on it sometimes.
I'd never actually noticed that, but now I think it's gonna be one of those things. If I ever go back and watch any of these episodes, I'll notice. But I didn't
Oh, yeah,
notice
me
that
too.
personally. But thank you, Keith. You ruined the show for me now. I won't be able to watch it again.
Oh, what do you think about the folding TIE fighters?
The wings folding?
Yeah.
Like they did it in season 1, didn't they? Yeah, with
Yeah, but I
Moff
thought it was
Gideon
like
Land.
I thought it was like his special TIE fighter or something, but now it seems like, oh, that's just the standard TIE fighter now.
They have never done this, so it's very strange.
Yeah, it is weird.
Like in anything.
Like
Yeah,
before they just
or-
had them just stand on their little things, right? Like
yeah.
Yeah, or
That's
even
like spawned
in
in Battlefront, damn it.
yeah, well, and I think even in the sequels when, or no, yeah, because when in episode 8 when they're in the first order hangar, like the TIE fighters are like on the wall and they have to like scramble them off.
right,
Mhm.
but they don't fold.
No, they don't fold. They're like held straight up. So
That's the technology.
it is very. It's whatever. It doesn't bother me either way. It does kind of not make sense because,
Yeah.
like you said, we never see it before. But they look like a TIE fighter and they sound like a TIE fighter. So
It just seems like extra effort on the animators' part,
Yeah.
you know.
What do you guys think about the cloning?
yeah, because
They look like Snoke.
yeah,
Yeah.
and it makes sense that they need to like find like a force sensitive blood, I guess, since obviously because basically how it worked in Dark Empire, which is from the EU from Legends and whatever, like Palpatine cloned his own body. So obviously, if you're getting into it, obviously it wasn't a thing at the time, but like if you in order for his body to use the Force, it would have to have the midichlorians and whatever and all that. So it makes sense that they have to do it using Baby Yoda's blood, but then at the same time, I don't know where we're getting this tissue to grow the other ones. So I guess it makes sense, but it kind of doesn't.
I don't really have a problem with it making sense. I just don't like the direction it's going in. It kind of confirms my worst fears. And
Yeah.
it's sort of a bit later on where I really want this to be separate from the sequels, and I don't like that the main plot point is seeming to devolve into the Empire wants to use Baby Yoda to clone Palpatine.
Yeah, well, obviously, I
was
think
really hoping they would do something more interesting.
Yeah, with the end of the season, which of course we'll get to, I don't think that's where it's going to end up going. I think it was just one of those things that they put in just to like tie it together and be like, oh hey,
I have
this
no
is
idea what it's going to do in the future.
this
I
is
feel
how
like
it's going to
gonna be a big
happen.
thing. I feel like it's going to be a big thing,
Mm.
know.
All right, I think
But,
it's not going to be a big thing. Keith thinks it's going to be a big thing. Tristan, break the tie. Is it going to be a big thing in later seasons, or is it not?
Yeah, fuck it, sure.
all right, I lose. So if it ends up not being a big thing, you guys each owe me $1 million. Perfect.
Shit.
Oh, yeah, bet.
All right.
Do you take savings bonds?
No, it has to be in quarters.
Do you take Whoopi Whoopie?
Do I take what?
Do you take Whoopi Whoopie?
No.
How about Dralix?
It has to be United States. Has to be United States dollars.
What about calamari flan?
Yes.
Teresian ale.
Oh no, I'll get blasted off my ass. Sorry.
But I just wanted to say with the clone, as regards regarding the clone thing. So, Rise of Skywalker kind of even fucked with the sequel's own like continuity and canon in that, like, you have that line where Palpatine's like, "I have been every voice inside your head." So is that like, was he like controlling Snoke? And
That's
then
a question that
was
still
controlling
hasn't been
Snoke.
answered.
In The Mandalorian, is Palpatine just like chilling on Exegol right now and just waiting to get his like Snoke puppet ready, or?
Fuck if I know. Fuck if anyone knows. I don't
If
think
it's-
even
if it's not
J.J.
that,
Abrams
then
knows.
I think they are gonna kind of like probably override it or something.
I don't think the story group knows.
Yeah. Anyways, and with that side tangent, we end up where they're obviously able to escape, blow up the base, super cool explosions, bam bam, and then Mandalorian and Baby Yoda leave for Corvus. But a Imperial spy put a tracker on the Razor Crest from Moff Gideon, so that definitely is, that's like that's the Empire's like failsafe. Like it never fails. They put a tracker on something, always works.
Hell yeah. works for Obi-Wan. It works for the Empire.
No
Tried and
need
true.
for a giant light speed tracker in a giant ship.
Yeah.
Okay, another issue with that now.
Yeah. All right. So
And,
before we go off on that awful tangent that we don't need to get on, overall thoughts on chapter 12, The Siege. I thought it was, again, it was another okay episode. Like the action I thought was good. Like it tying in with the sequels, like I guess I'm not really against it because like, you know, it's a canon, it's a product within the canon timeline. So it's probably all going to tie in. So like, you know, it doesn't bother me. It's nice that they're tying stuff together and giving, you know, possible answers to stuff that did not have these answers. It obviously would have been nicer if we got the answers in the movies, but if they're going to answer some of this stuff in other media, like that's fine. I probably won't read a lot of that other media, but you know, if they put stuff in Mandalorian, I'll watch it and I'll be fine with it because that's kind of what I'm expecting, you know, that
it does make it feel connected.
Yeah, which is something I think canon has been lacking a little bit because obviously we go from the Clone Wars, nothing really in between, and then to Galactic Civil War. Mando,
books.
yeah, and then more Galactic Civil War, more Galactic Civil War. Okay, it's finally done. Yep. Battle of Jakku, whatever, it's done. And then
more Galactic Civil War.
And then yeah, well, and then we get Mando, which is actually, I don't know. I hope it doesn't turn into solely existing just to connect those two eras, but if it does connect stuff here and there, that's totally fine with me. And overall, this episode, again, it was okay.
Yeah, it's inoffensive. I do like this one more than the other ones just because of the cast, but otherwise, it's okay.
Sure. And then
I thought it was a fun episode, a good finale with the speeder bike chase and the trooper carrier thing.
Yeah, the action was good.
I don't really notice the directing or action unless it's bad.
I like the part where like all the speeders, the scout troopers go off like the cliff, and then like one of them like crashes.
One of them immediately dies.
Yeah, scout troopers.
Yeah. So again, overall, like we said, season so far is on a upswing. That brings us, I'm pretty sure, to the three of us's opinion, crashing down into chapter 13, The Jedi. Written and directed by Dave Filoni. But no, Mando and Baby Yoda. See, I'm so hyped up for this episode. I loved it so much.
You two don't like Dave Filoni?
No, wait, Tristan, you also don't like Dave Filoni?
What?
Whoa! But no, Mando and Baby Yoda arrive on Caladan, on Corvus, and the population is basically like ruled over by another magistrate. So I don't know if that's just like a title that they're trying to get over in canon, like if they use a lot. But Morgan something Elsbeth, I believe, Elizabeth, something like that.
I can't remember anything from this episode. So.
Yeah. And there's a hired mercenary. Magistrate offers Mando a spear of Beskar, which is like, why?
You forgot about the opening killing scene.
Oh yeah, so cool. No, it's Ahsoka killing people that have 0% chance of fighting her.
It's just a beta hallway scene again.
They looked like, just like ultra sabers or something, and it really stood out.
Yeah, her lightsaber hilts. I guess my biggest thing that I have nice to say about Ahsoka is I like the design of her original lightsabers. Her green ones from the Clone Wars. I like the design of those hilts. Her new hilts, you're right, they do look like they're like something. The design for them, even from Rebels, they look weird.
They're the first square lightsabers that I know of outside of the Darksaber.
Yeah,
like the rectangular.
They're literally,
curved.
Yeah, they're like tiny little like boxes, and they're curved. And she uses double reverse Shien, and I hate it because I hate reverse grip. But no, it's
with a curved lightsaber. It makes no sense.
Yeah, and I guess the thing and these killing scenes that like people love to talk about, like Maul and Vader and Ahsoka, the thing that I think makes them not as cool is these people are going up against people who we know don't really pose a threat, and even against other humans, they aren't very threatening. And so seeing Ahsoka kill these like rando mercenary people is like, okay. And I guess if you're a fan of Ahsoka, it's probably very cool to see it implemented in live action.
I hate using this term, but for casual fans, I kind of see the appeal. Because, at least with the original trilogy, you never really get to see Jedi and Sith being elevated beyond the normal person, but with a sword. Like, there's a little bit of acrobatics, and then you get into the prequels where they're kind of like cutting down battle droids, so you get more of a sense of what they're capable of. So with original trilogy characters like Darth Vader, seeing him hack apart people and like throw people with the Force, where you really barely get any like telekinesis at all in the original trilogy, is pretty appealing, and it kind of like elevates them on a live action standard.
Yeah,
even though we've seen them do it in books and shit.
I was gonna say, and I think you're definitely right, because like you said, and you said it perfectly, is that in the books, comic books, etc., video games especially, you're right. You get to see Jedi and Sith do all this cool stuff, so that is the appeal, and I guess that's why people like it. So
The appeal of what?
of the Darth Vader hallway scene, and
that.
and like Ahsoka in this, like because when it opens up, she's killing like random dudes with blasters. Like it's
Yeah. I mean, but she's not being like super like over the top. She's kind of like kill one dude, like disappear, kill another dude, disappear.
Well, that's the thing that
I do like that. I just think it's kind of directed clunkily.
Yeah.
Especially with her prosthetics.
And the lightsaber.
Like the way she moves feels very strange to me.
Yeah, and I guess just for me, I think it's kind of goofy that she's like doing all this like stealthy, kill, like you said, like kill someone, disappear. I think it's kind of goofy because like in the Clone Wars cartoon, like she's deflecting blaster bolts from like a bajillion battle droids and stuff. What are these 5 people gonna do? Like I think it would have been maybe cooler if she did do more like a Darth Vader type thing, where
like
she
trying to be cool, right?
Yeah, like if she would have just like ragdolled them, or even better yet, since she used to be a Jedi, maybe instead of killing them all, she just like, disarms their blasters. But I guess she's not a Jedi.
Yeah, Ahsoka as like a little 12-year-old girl could go toe to toe with Asajj Ventress, Force abilities and all.
Yeah, and I don't know.
Yeah, it's clunky as that is. It makes no sense. But
yeah,
I think it was more an issue of the actress not being able to move around as normally as she could,
and
especially why the leg was shorter.
Yeah, and I was gonna say, like, this would probably be the perfect time to talk. Like, Ahsoka's appearance, I thought was overall like it looked good. Like the face paint looked good and everything, or like I guess the body paint rather looked good. I don't care that they changed the actress, because I don't know in what physical shape the actress is, like her original voice actress, like Ashley Eckstein. Like I don't know, like if she would have looked the part, like if that's why they changed it. And I'm glad, because I saw people saying this online. They were like, well, they should have had Ashley Eckstein just do the voice. I hate when like that usually doesn't work very well.
Yeah.
Like you can make it
especially
work
if you're familiar with the actress.
Yeah, but you can make it work on like smaller stuff, but like whenever I hear people say stuff like that, I always think back to, like, I don't know if you guys ever have watched them, but like a lot of the old Bond films, especially Dr. No does it really bad, where they will have the leading actress is mouthing all the lines, but someone else is doing the voice. Like they record over her and do in someone else's voice. It always you can always tell because something's always slightly off.
In Dr. No?
Yeah, the main actress, Ursula Anders.
I did not notice.
You can make it work with people in masks, like Darth Vader or Dr.
Yeah,
Doom.
and see, like that's a very good point. Like if someone has something where they're covering it, yeah, because like if you tell if you tell like a 10-year-old that someone else is doing like the Darth Vader voice, they're like, what? Like I freaked out when I found out about that when I was like a little kid. And so yeah,
Yeah,
you can
it's sort of like separating the body from the voice, but you can't really do that with someone whose
speaking.
face is not
Yeah.
covered. Yeah.
Yeah, and overall, like I thought, like they did a good job of making her look like Ahsoka, but except for her Leku, they looked like Walmart foam.
Yeah, styrofoam.
Like
It was even ripped in a few places.
yeah, like it, and I will say, like it looked like someone's Ahsoka cosplay, but very well done. But
I will say that Leku in general with not Rebels, Mandalorian looks a bit weird. Like the Twi'leks have very large heads
yeah,
for their head to accommodate the head tails.
Oh yeah, I think that's just bad. I think that's just bad makeup and
And it's not just like specific to one, because you see that in later on in the season with the slave, and you see it earlier with the prison break, and their heads are very big. And like you look back at even the original trilogy or Ayla Secura and the prequels, and their heads aren't large.
mhm.
right. Yeah, and like they had like tons of extra Twi'leks, you
Mhm.
know, for like the Senate scene and stuff. Yeah, they look good.
Oh
They
yeah.
didn't. I think it's probably just cheap, you know, them just cutting corners with
Yeah,
the
and
makeup.
that's probably got to be a thing too. Is like obviously this does not have the budget of a Star Wars film, so
It it doesn't, but I think it's more of them trying to accommodate someone in an action role, because you
sure.
never really see Ayla or do anything like that. I think the closest thing you could get is the Twilight
She
Dancers in Return of the Jedi.
dies
She falls on the ground.
and gets
It gets
shot.
Swiss cheesed and
Yeah,
fucking out.
yeah,
And
but no. So I guess that's kind of our thoughts on Ahsoka and her little introduction scene, and obviously we had to backtrack because then Din goes out to find her, and he does, and I like their little fight scene because I like seeing Din use his Beskar to block like her lightsabers. I thought that was super cool.
I think so too.
Yeah.
It
very cool.
reminded me
Remember-
of, I don't know if you guys have seen it, but the movie Troy, there's a scene where Hector and Achilles fight, and Hector goes to swing at Achilles' leg, and he blocks it by turning his leg so it hits the armor on his leg. And so I think it's cool to like show people that he's wearing armor, because a lot of time you see him getting like punched and stuff, and it doesn't, and he like reacts to it like he's getting punched.
Or that he's like hiding from blaster bolts.
Yeah.
Had they mentioned on the show before that Beskar could deflect lightsabers? Like, had that been brought up at all?
Honestly,
I don't think so. This is the first time, I think.
I think it is, and which I think like obviously from reading Legends, reading the EU, like we know that it can, like that Beskar can. But obviously, in canon, and again, like I had said, seeing it on screen, like it is cool to see, because
Most
yeah, so that was really cool. And then she meets up with Baby Yoda and pisses off like half the internet by giving him a name, which I didn't mind. Like obviously we've been skirting around it kind of as a little joke, but his name's Grogu. His name doesn't bother me. It sounds like a Yoda species name.
It sounds very close to the same species. I do like it. I actually really like the name a lot. It fits. It's cute. Don't have a problem with it. I'll call it Baby Yoda or
I
Grogu.
hate yogurt, even with
Yeah.
strawberries.
No, I know. I've seen some people online saying, "Well, it should start with a Y because Yaddle and Yoda start with a Y," and it's like, yeah, well, that's just in canon. Obviously, in Legends, we have a couple more. We have
Master Yandar.
Vandar. Yeah, Master Vandar from Knights of the
No,
Old
it's
Republic.
Yandar K.
Yandar, Master Yandar.
To talk it normally.
Yeah, that is true. He is the only Yoda to talk like a normal person. He sounds exactly like Yoda, but if Yoda talked normally.
Mm-hmm.
So no, and then they have like a cute little thing, and you get something of Grogu's background, which was nice, that he was obviously a Jedi, and he was on the Jedi Temple in Coruscant, and then
It does give you a little bit of it explaining, like as to how he can pull off force feats despite being a baby.
yeah, and obviously
Even,
we
even force healing, right?
yeah,
Mm,
and
Like Legends established that Padawans could learn how to, force heal.
I don't want to talk about canon for
Yeah.
Sulu.
But no. So it is nice. It is nice that we get that little explanation of, oh, that's why he can do this stuff. I kind of going into it assumed a little bit that he was like a former Jedi because obviously he's decades old, and so he would have been around during the time of the Clone Wars. So it makes sense that he was trained. One thing, and this is just me, and obviously Ahsoka doesn't know, which makes sense, that she doesn't know how he got off of Coruscant during Order 66. I like that, and I hope, but they will probably explain it in a comic or or if they end up showing Luke and Grogu training ever on this show or any other show, they're going to explain how he got off of Coruscant, and I don't want to know. Like, I like having these kind of like mystery things in Star Wars that you just don't know. And I guess it's been kind of the thing in the past decade or so to really have to over-explain things. Like, people think that George Lucas explaining midichlorians is over-explaining, but then in TCW you have stuff like the Mortis family, which explains in overly dumb detail about the overly dumb prophecy and how it works.
Yeah, you're right.
And it's over-explaining, and then we have, and Bane and I touched on, and Keith and I, touched on this in our Star Wars hot takes, but you know, Dawn of the Jedi ends up doing some over-explaining with the Jedi and stuff. And I guess since kind of that like 2012 and on, you kind of get over-explained, and I don't really like it. Like, I like in a universe that's so big and so well explored that we don't always have an answer for everything. And so I really hope that we don't figure out how Grogu got off of Coruscant. Obviously, we have all kinds of
at some point.
Yeah, and obviously you're right. Oh yeah, and we have all kinds of terrible, awful theories already all over YouTube about how he got off, and they all suck. I will say that.
I mean, I can look at it from either side, you know, like it's good to have the mystery and stuff, but then like somebody else could say like, oh well, it's like a plot hole not explaining how he got off of Coruscant or whatever.
Yeah,
So,
but it's not a plot hole though.
I could be fine with it being a mystery or finding out.
Yeah, but then
we know that there's plenty of people, plenty of Jedi that escaped.
Yeah, exactly, and they probably just brought him in his little Baby Yoda floating carriage.
Yeah. Or,
yeah, I guess just
people Balaba chunked him out of the temple.
He's kind of like he's like you know he's like the like baby in a basket, you know, kind of like Moses thing. He just, you know.
Oh no, he's gonna let my people go, Moff Gideon.
He's just this little baby in like a floating basket thing, you know.
Oh, the symbolism it was lost on me until now. Baby Yoda will be
Moses.
Baby Yoda will be the Moses of the Jedi, even though it's kind of set up that he's probably fucking dead because Kylo Ren kills everyone.
Yeah, the Jedi dog gets usurped.
So yeah, no. Then basically from there we get a nice little thing where Grogu does like a little floating ball force thing, and we get a little more of that, and then we get some total we'll talk about that at the end. But basically we have the big fight scene where Ahsoka and Mando fight the bad guys, and
very clunky, I think.
Yeah, again, I don't think the action in this one was as good as the previous episodes.
I don't understand the samurai vibe thing that they're going with, like this random chick with a spear against a fully trained Jedi Knight. I say Jedi Knight because she's basically on the cusp of getting promoted.
Yeah,
she's like, she's got like how many years of experience at this point? Like 60.
Yeah,
and she's having trouble with this lady.
Yeah, and that's one thing that I don't like that Star Wars does is like they'll have like a Force sensitive fighting a non-Force sensitive, and they forget that they have the Force.
Yeah.
But anyways,
I don't like forgetting that the Force exists. That's not cool.
And then Ahsoka ends up winning and demands to know where Grand Admiral Thrawn is. Dun dun dun. Which means that Thrawn did not die to the stupid, awful, stupid hyperspace whales.
What are you
Where
talking
are the
about? This
space
is Thrawn's
battles?
first mention in canon.
Are they safe?
No. I don't know. I guess I'll touch on this now. I was going to touch on it later, but I think now would be a better time. I saw this really bad fan theory that this is going to lead to like a it's going to be similar to the MCU leading up to Thanos, but it's going to be the Star Wars TV universe leading up to Thrawn, and I hope they don't do that like so bad. I don't think
I'm
they
hoping
can
it leads
because
up
a
there.
lot of the
Or-
stuff obviously is set in like way previous eras and stuff, but like I don't know, just something like that. I hope it doesn't happen. Well, to be fair, I don't want half of these shows to, be on, and I probably won't watch them. But I like The Mandalorian being its own little thing, and if it ties into other stuff a little bit by like mentions and small little stuff like the cloning stuff, that's fine. I don't want the Star Wars television universe.
You're not excited for the New Republic Rangers?
No. And obviously there's gonna be an Ahsoka show, which I'm not gonna watch any bit of.
I think it kind of runs contradictory to what Mandalorian was supposed to be to begin with, which is like this little standalone western,
Yeah, and
space western.
as far as
But,
Thrawn, in the future, I could care less about canon Thrawn. He's a joke.
Thrawn has been shit since his debut into canon, and I think Rebels being so kid oriented, like more so than Clone Wars, where even we all have our misgivings about Clone Wars, but it had some pretty mature themes and bits, I would think, and I think it handled some characters intelligently. Whereas in Rebels, Thrawn is just another incompetent Empire lackey who gets thwarted by a kid with space will.
Strategy.
Yeah, it's just really dumb. I could care less about Thrawn heading forward. He'll probably end up just being like the antagonist of the Ahsoka series, which is fine.
Especially with Filoni attached.
Yes. Yeah.
No.
So especially since he's probably going to be the antagonist of the Ahsoka show, that works twofold for me because I don't have to see Ahsoka when I don't watch the Ahsoka show, and I don't have to see Canon Thrawn when I watch the Ahsoka show. So
there you go.
it works out perfect. And then she gives off her whole BS about how she can't train Grogu because he's too attached to the Mandalorian. And
she's not a Jedi.
And yeah.
We're continuing the trend of Jedi not learning from their mistakes at all. This was the issue with Luke in the sequels, where the Jedi Order as a whole doesn't have a character arc. And like they learn nothing from the mistakes of the Clone Wars, which is really irritating to me because I would really hope that Ahsoka would see the value and attachment and stuff and like talk to Luke at some point, but apparently she doesn't even know who Luke is, so she's sending them to Tython.
Yeah.
Did we talk about this in the Filoni video? Why doesn't Ahsoka just know about Luke Skywalker and say, "Hey, why don't you just go find the hero of the rebellion"?
Yeah,
this whole show could be avoided if the Mandalorian just took Grogu to Coruscant.
Yeah, or wherever Luke's or to wherever he is. Like he's probably running around the New Republic doing Luke Skywalker stuff. Like
but it's in canon, Luke Skywalker is in it.
Yeah, Luke Skywalker is so mythical that a Jedi can't look at the Holo News during the Galactic Civil War and be like, "Oh shit, that dude's a Jedi." And it's just really dumb, like that. You are right, and it is kind of a dumb thing that you can point out about this show is like, how does Mandalorian not know about Luke Skywalker? How are the Jedi already a myth when they just helped liberate the galaxy from the Empire? Very, very silly, and I think it's more Filoni.
30 years ago.
Yeah, and I think it's part of Filoni trying to be cool and being, oh, well, Ahsoka's not a Jedi. She's way cooler than being a Jedi. She has white lightsabers. And it's like, no, shut up. I don't know. So, and then Mandalorian also gets the Beskar spear, which...
I wonder if he'll use this later in the scene.
Yeah, could he? No, so overall thoughts on this one? Honestly, probably my least favorite episode of the season. I won't lie.
Ahsoka is a character I'm very attached to, just because I just said earlier, I have a lot of issues with TCW and a lot of things it did to the Legends continuity, but Ahsoka's a character I grew up with, so I have a very big soft spot for her. So the
Ew.
music in this episode, especially where I hear her theme, kind of gets me.
Sure.
She has a
So I don't. This issue have a lot of this episode have a lot of issues with, but it's I still like it.
Rosario Dawson did a good job portraying Ahsoka.
Yeah, I thought
just thought the overall plot was lacking.
Yeah, that's a really good point. She did do a good job. It kind of reminded me of, oh god, I'm drawing a blank. Who was the guy who was young Han Solo?
I don't remember his name.
Alden Eckhart or Alden Ehrenreich or something like
That
that.
sounds about right. Alden, I know was his first name.
Yeah, anyways, it reminded me a lot of his portrayal of like the young Han Solo. Alden Ehrenreich, I had looked it up. He was the young Han Solo from Solo, which I think is a really underrated movie, despite what everyone on the internet says. But
I agree.
yeah, it reminded me a lot of that, where he did a good version of that character, and she, excuse me, did the actress's mannerisms really well. Like the way she talked and her cadence reminded me of Ahsoka, and so the only big difference was her voice wasn't the same.
Mm-hmm.
Which, yeah, I'm already a little bit annoyed by Ahsoka's voice automatically anyway, so totally fine with Rosario Dawson.
Yeah, and obviously
Well,
this.
when you're working with the directors who invented the character, it's obviously going to come through, and I think they did very well with it.
Yeah,
That is very true. That is very true.
yeah. So even though I don't like Ahsoka, like it's a good portrayal of the character. A lot of people wanted to be mad over nothing. So yeah, overall, Keith, you gave your thoughts. You thought the plot was a bit lacking. So yeah, that was it. That's my least favorite one. That's probably my most controversial take here that we'll ever see on the show, or this episode, I mean.
Should have been in the hot takes video.
All right.
Gasp.
So then that leads us on to trudging forward, going on from that pit, in my opinion, to chapter 14, The Tragedy, directed by Robert Rodriguez, written by Jon Favreau. And basically, this entire episode is just a big gunfight. But Mando takes Grogu to a rock on Tython, which doesn't look cool. I figure we should talk about that now.
I noticed watching it. If you look at the rocks surrounding it, it looks like, you could tell that Jedi like used the Force to like shove the rocks up through the ground. So I thought that was a neat little detail. Because in the concept art, it's more pronounced. Like it looks straight up like kind of like earthbending from Avatar, but like it's Star Wars, so they probably use the Force.
Oh, sure. No, that's fine. I was just talking about like the setting and how Tython looks like it was in California.
Yeah. It's California, not Jungle Planet. And I mean, they're already putting Tython in the Outer Rim, so it's like, let's just completely throw out the whole pronoun. It kind of makes you think, well, why use the name at all? But yeah.
I just don't know why it wasn't used in Last Jedi, but
why not just come up with a classic canon name for a planet? It's kind of dumb.
Another bland planet, despite the name and the history behind it.
Well, again, like it's one of those things where like that they've been doing for a long time, that they've been selectively taking stuff and all of that from Legends, from the expanded universe. And this, I think, is the laziest one, because it's literally Tython in name only. Like, at least Grand Admiral Thrawn, as terrible as he's written, he does the whole art strategy thing.
Looks like the character, despite the pupils.
He looks like the character, yeah. But then...
Did Ahsoka have any background on the planet? Like,
no.
She didn't say this is like the home planet of the Jedi or whatever. She just kind of...
No, because I'm pretty sure in canon, are the Jedi not... Is, like, the Jedi origin planet not Octo?
It is.
It is Octo, yeah.
Yeah, so they literally...
Brian Johnson.
And again, like this, I didn't care about Dawn of the Jedi, and I hate Star Wars: The Old Republic, the MMO. Oh, I missed on that on the hot take too. But no, so Tython not being the birthplace of the Jedi, I didn't care. But the fact that they had this set up planet and its set up setting, and then they just kind of ignore it and put it in the California hills. I guess it was kind of lazy, but
it's the reverse of what they did with Moraband.
exactly, yeah. Like
I don't like them just using the name because it got my hopes up.
yeah. I guess I wasn't surprised, but I was definitely let down. But they put Grogu, Mando does, on the Seeing Stone, and he turns it on, which puts like a shield around him for some reason. But then
he's like, it's like so much force energy being like shot up through there that it creates a force field or whatever.
that could be, I guess. I thought it was kind of silly, and obviously they kind of just did that so they could set up the plot point of what happens later. But next, in the big fanboy moment, the big part of it here, Boba Fett shows up in on a ship, which apparently has just been parked on Tatooine, I guess, for the last however long decades.
Right. Even though his whole outfit and getup would imply that he was like having to like survive on Tatooine. You know,
Yeah.
like he uses a gapping stick, he wears like desert robes, he has like a
For
he has, like, a
4
Tusken
years
rifle.
at this point.
Yeah.
2 or 4 years, whatever
So
the
he
timeline is
had
for
his
Mando.
ship, but he was just walking around Tatooine looking for his armor
Yeah.
or something. It's
The
like,
armor
okay,
thing
got it.
makes sense for him to, I guess, to stay there and rummage for it and try to find it. But I just think it's kind of funny that Mando finds his armor before he does. When this guy has a reputation as being a Mandalorian in the city.
Yeah, it's a little too convenient there.
Regardless, though, I do actually really like this moment because, unlike the Ahsoka thing, like we're gonna name drop Ahsoka, so everybody's hyped for the episode after the next one. This one came as a surprise, where you just see the Slave One and like the music is really intimidating, and I really like how they handle it.
Yeah, his theme is badass.
Yeah, no, it was definitely cool, and I thought it was gonna be going into it. I didn't think that Boba was gonna show up. I thought it was gonna be another fake out moment, and that because I mean, there's probably more than one fire spray out there.
Right,
So
or somebody just happened to steal
somebody else just stole Boba Fett's ship. But no, him and I believe her name is Fennec show up, and she obviously was supposedly dead last season. Like everyone thought she was dead, and Boba is basically just like, "Oh, I need my armor back." And
solid impression.
I want my armor.
And he goes on about how that armor belonged to my father Django and all that, and Django, and then they go back and forth, and Mando now, instead of being given the D&D quest, he gives one to Boba, and he says, well, I'll give you your armor back as long as Grogu's safe, because at this point now Moff Gideon has shown up, and they start sending troops down, and they're fighting him off and all that, and Grogu has
that part that is set up really well because of the tracking thing from the few episodes back. So there is a reason for them being here, being able to be on the planet.
Yeah. So
this is the second best action sequence, I think, in this season.
Yeah, I would probably agree. But no. So they
quite a bit. My only problem being the lack of practical, like stormtrooper shot effects.
What do you mean?
Like no practical effects for the armor at all. Actually, no blaster marks, no seeing the armor, the armor breaking stuff, like with Boba's gaffy stick, is all digital. Like it was digital armor pieces being put in, stuff like that.
Do not care. It looked badass.
Yeah, it looked super cool.
I want to see blaster burns on the armor when they get shot. It helped. I don't know. I want to see somebody.
I didn't notice though.
Piece getting blown off.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things that I didn't notice until someone pointed it out to me, and then it kind of was a little bit annoying.
Oof,
they just ruining the season for it.
I'm so sorry. I still enjoyed it. But that's just something I noticed.
Yeah, no, it was. Yeah, so it was nice to watch. It was a nice action scene, and all that. And then of course, midway through it, Boba comes out in his armor and kicked more ass. And then it's one of those things again where stormtroopers are shown to be the most incompetent, useless henchman of all time.
His scene was amazingly cool. Topped off perfectly with the freaking knee rockets, and then him just like pulling a robot chicken Boba Fett and just taking out the two freaking.
Yeah, that I thought that was really cool when he shot it. I wish they wouldn't have put in the goofy little 80s one-liner, and he's
aiming for the other one.
Yeah, I was aiming for the other one.
That was awesome.
I don't know. It was a little too goofy. I think it would have been cooler if they would have just like left that as like a quiet moment to like drink in like the oh my god, that was cool. But and then I thought that I also thought that the soundtrack for all of this was really good.
Yes.
I think the second half of the season's soundtrack in general is some of the best music Star Wars has done in a while.
And then while we've been talking, I actually looked up because I wanted to see some of the stuff for the development and maybe why the stormtroopers didn't have any of this blaster stuff. It apparently only 6 of the stormtroopers were real, and the rest were added in digitally.
Amazing.
Oh wow! Fine.
Which I guess would be why that one stormtrooper getting his ass kicked by the gaffy stick, looked so digital. Yeah, but then we get
his armor looked very good. I don't like the robes underneath it, but
yeah, we were talking about that before. It kind of made Boba look like he had a dad bod.
Yeah, a little bit.
Even though I do think that Tamora Morrison's actually pretty cut. The robes just kind of like gather at his waist for some reason.
Sure, but yeah. So then basically, with all this going on, we get Din goes to try back up and get Grogu, but of course he's protected by the force field. So then he leaves to go fight, and of course, the second he leaves, Grogu's done.
Yes.
And then he gets taken by the Dark Troopers, which are deployed from Moff Gideon's ship. And now I will. Oh yeah, they blow up the Razor Crest, which is very, rest in pieces.
I cried during that scene.
Yeah, that's the scene I cried during, because it's like it's the equivalent of like, let's say you like went out and bought like a new nice suit for like a wedding or a big party or something, and then as soon as you get there and you're looking good, you're looking fresh, you spill like red wine all over it or something. It's like the equivalent of like, oh no, I stained my favorite shirt, I can't wear it anymore. Well, yeah, as soon as it's looking good, it's blown straight to hell.
Yeah, the Razor Crest explosion was spoiled for me, but luckily wasn't. So
that's interesting. That's interesting that's what you got spoiled for you, not Boba.
It's a major character death.
It is, yeah. It's but no, the Dark Troopers then they take Grogu up, and for some reason he doesn't die of like exposure getting flown up to Moff Gideon's ship.
Yeah, to like the upper atmosphere.
Yeah. Maybe they have like a chest compartment like Bender from Futurama, and they put him in or something.
Or like a little oxygen mask. They just come.
They have a specific. It's like the handcuffs that he's put in later. They have like a specific oxygen mask just for little babies.
Yeah.
The airplane little bags.
Oh yeah, please, do your own oxygen mask before your child's. But no, I will say, and this is I mentioned it earlier. Again, Moff Gideon has a Arcatan's cruiser as his main ship, and that's the ship of the main villain of this show so far, or of this season rather. And it's just really nice that he didn't get like an Imperial Star Destroyer. Like he has a smaller ship. Like it is a small cruiser compared to the big ship.
Right.
What they could be doing is like really progressing it. I'm sorry, you go.
Oh, I was just gonna say even that like small cruiser was a bit of a shock to Boba when he saw it.
Yeah,
the Empire's back.
Yeah, because it's I think the Arcatans, they're only like 300 meters long compared to like a kilometer long Star Destroyer. So it's it's just really cool that they're finally putting into that the Empire has been defeated, where even the main villain has a light cruiser as his ship. And
they'll
so
probably reserve Star Destroyers for Thrawn if he makes an appearance in the television shows.
Yeah, then he's really the only person I could see, and I definitely think it's that's my little gushing thing about the ships, because I also play Star Wars Armada, the tabletop game, and I have the Architans, and it's a really good ship. So when I saw it on TV, or when I saw it on the show, I was like, whoa, that's the miniature model I have. That's cool. Because they're never really shown in, obviously they're never shown in the movies, because like I mentioned earlier, in the movies the only thing we see from the Empire and even the First Order is like the big ships and then starfighters.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought that was really cool. They take Baby Yoda. So then basically Boba Fett's like, oh well, I gotta be your NPC until we get the Grogu back. So then
Boba Fett has now joined the party.
Yeah, you now have Boba Fett in the character selection screen along with Fennec. So they end up getting in, and they take Slave One back to Navarro and ask for Cara Dune to help them break out Mayfield from the previous season, who is the Bill Burr character. So that's it for that episode. I guess what were your overall thoughts on the episode from you guys?
It's very underwritten, but I mean, I don't really care because I was worried that they weren't gonna do Boba justice. I was afraid they were just gonna have Mando beat him in a fight or something.
Yeah, for such a simply written episode, it was very satisfying seeing Boba Fett come back, and the action was really enjoyable. Some of the best action on the show that we've seen. So, yeah, definitely a good episode.
Yeah, and I mean, we said this, before recording, but this is probably my second least favorite episode, not for any bad reason. It's just that this is where it really started feeling like fillery to me, because this is literally just a fight scene to set up Grogu getting taken. And yeah, it was super cool. It's like, it was a really well done moment of fan service to have Boba come back and actually get to be a badass, because that's the biggest thing about Boba Fett, is that everyone is like, oh, Boba Fett's super cool. And, the common response is, yeah, but he doesn't do diddly squat in the movies.
Yeah, but he got shoved into the Sarlacc by a blind dude.
Yeah, exactly. So it is cool that, God, like 40 years later, we have, we have Boba finally get his Genesis. And, no, so that's kind of my overall thoughts on it. And, with that, we will move on. And then actually, before we move on to the next episode, Tristan, you had some stuff to mention about Boba, if I remember right.
Boba is not a Mandalorian, but Jango is confirmed to be a foundling, which I thought was very satisfying, because it was retconned in the Clone Wars TV show with Filoni, the 31, and it comes from an unreliable source and Prime Minister Almec, but it's good to finally have confirmation that Jango was in fact a Mandalorian. Right. I'm not satisfied that Boba isn't, but I'll take it rather than them both being fakers.
Well, I mean, Boba was never too into the Creed. He was kind of more about doing it for his dad, and he was more bounty hunter.
He'll become Mandalore later.
Yeah, obviously by then he embraces his Mandalorian side more, but I feel like at least at this point it's okay for him to just still be kind of like, doing his own following his own creed specifically.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think the best thing about it is it's not someone telling him he can't be. It's him as a character saying that he's not. Like, it's his choice not to be, as opposed to he's, being like gate kept and like, oh, nope, you can't be a Mandalorian.
What's interesting, though, is that he's kind of indirect about it, because he never says straight up, I'm not a Mandalorian. He says to Bo-Katan later that he never said that he was a Mandalorian, and when Din is talking to him, he said, oh, my father was a Mandalorian, and then he gave the armor to me.
Yeah, because Bo-Katan, it's established in the Bo-Katan episode that because, the armor is passed down to her, it's her right to wear it and all that. So because Boba, was passed down the armor by his father, it's his, even if he's not a Mandalorian. Like, it's his no matter what.
I just think it's a nice distinction that he's not completely direct about saying that he's not a Mandalorian.
Yeah, and that could be something that, they might explore in the Boba Fett show. If I had to make a little prediction of it, is that, he might do a little bit of stuff like that, where he's like, I guess kind of wrestling with it, like, oh, should I be? And it, that might be a thing. That's my little speculation on it.
I hope they do something with it.
I'm kind of like holding in the back of my head that like maybe all of like those Mandalorians from the first season aren't dead or whatever, and they just like fake their deaths or something.
Hoping.
Yeah, they just left all their helmets in a pile and went to like, I don't know, go be undercover or something, or go into hiding. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, it could be. And then I guess while we're on the subject of Mandalorians, we also bring up, I think it's brought up in the first Bo-Katan episode, that they all think it's weird that Din does not take his stuff off.
Yeah, we did forget to mention that.
Yeah. The Watch or the Death Watch are established as being zealots compared to other Mandalorians.
Yeah.
I don't think it's that. They said the Watch specifically because Bo-Katan was a member of the Death Watch. So I don't really know if this is like a separate sect.
Yeah, it's definitely like a weird offshoot Mandalorian religion thing. And it was one of those things that I think a lot of people, like I'm sure you guys were a little irked by it too, that a lot of people were irked that Din, like, and the Mandalorians from season 1 refused to take off their armor. Because obviously,
it made no sense.
in every other thing ever, like, they take it off because it's a helmet. And
yeah,
I like it. I like it being added, and I like it being its own separate thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
it gives the Mandalorians culture and canon, thank Christ, because it has not happened until this point.
Yeah, definitely more skewing towards the Legends side of the Mandalorians and getting away from the icky, gross canon Mandalorian stuff.
What is?
The thing about them like not taking off the armor and just being like devoted, because in like the comics, like the like Neo Crusader Mandalorians were pretty into just wearing their armor all the time. So it's not unheard of in Legends, at least.
Yeah, but it was never any like explicit thing of if they took off their helmet, like they weren't like a Mandalorian. And
it was
even
just a thing they did. Yeah.
And even Canderous, who was a Neo Crusader and fought in the Mandalorian Wars, like, he takes his helmet off and stuff. And I hate to reference it, but he takes it off even in like he wasn't Mandalore then yet, so never mind. But he's not wearing armor then. And obviously in Knights of the Old Republic, we do see other Mandalorians who don't wear it. So it
is after the wars. I'm just glad the
Oh, what? You go.
I'm just glad the Mandos have culture and canon now, as opposed to being like, we're a proud warrior race.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Yeah, and I definitely think the whole like armor, big significance of the armor and everything, I think that works better when it is like a subgroup of them. It shouldn't be the whole thing, but it's cool to see as like a subgroup, because obviously, in our real world, we have like, you can take a group of people, like you could take like the United States, for example, and then all three of us are from like different regions. So like obviously we do stuff differently here, you do stuff differently there. Like it would be the same thing with like Mandalorians, because they're just a cult there.
Yeah, that's true.
So Din is a Catholic.
Yeah, Din is from New York, so he does things differently than Bo-Katan, who is from Kansas.
If anybody sees his face, he has to whip himself.
Yeah, no. So I guess that's kind of our little side thing that was really good to mention and bring up about Boba and the Mandalorians and everything. All right, so then after our big action scene, we have Chapter 15, The Believer, directed by Rick, I'm going to butcher this, Fumiyawa, and it was also written and directed by the same Rick Fumiyawa. And we have the opening. Cara Dune is able, since she's a Marshal of the New Republic, she can get Mayfield out from prison to her custody, which I thought was a little weird.
This episode is full of just contrivances.
Yeah, I don't like this episode. I will be like up front. I didn't like the episode.
I like the opening, like junkyard world kind of thing. I thought that was cool.
To be blunt, this is my least favorite episode in the season, possibly the show.
I thought I thought the security guard droid was funny. kept calling him like prisoner 6 whatever something number.
Yeah, it was okay. I don't know. It was just it's very contrived that a New Republic marshal can take this ex-Imperial out of prison into her custody.
I mean, she's like a space cop, like really what is her, what she could probably do a lot of things. I don't know.
Yeah, but that's like saying like a police officer could go into a prison and be like, "Hey, this guy who's wanted for a jailbreak, I need him."
Right, but she's like space cop for like a whole planet basically, so
I don't know.
So-
I didn't like it. It was just really contrived, I thought. But they get her out, and he gives this whole thing about how, I need to be able to access an internal terminal and everything. And for some reason, he suggests Morak, which is a mining world for the Empire. And
Right. It kind of feels like a D kind of quest where like a character's like, oh, there's a thing here, let's go there and do that.
Yeah,
Let's go here to find the most sensitive information about the whereabouts of our leader.
Yeah, on a mining planet. But they get there, Mayfield and Mandalorian do the whole episode 4 thing and dress up as Imperials, which I thought was kind of nice that they did that. Kind of a homage in a way to episode 4.
I hated.
Really?
To be honest with you, yes. Having watched Rebels, where they do it every fucking episode, this entire episode to me felt like a really shitty version, really shitty episode of Rebels, where they hijack the armor, pretend to be stormtroopers, make the jokes about not being able to see in the armor, taking the armor off, so you can see the famous actor's face.
Yeah, well, I don't know. It didn't bother me so much, and it probably helps that I've never watched Rebels, so I don't have that association.
It feels like I've seen this before countless times.
Once they get into the tank thing, the converted like troop carrier or whatever, I just really liked the dynamic between Mando and Mayfield. I just thought it came very naturally to both of them because Mando is the silent type and Mayfield is played by Bill Burr who just likes to talk, so it's kind of it was a nice he's like talking because he's nervous and Mando just doesn't say anything. I thought it was cool.
Yeah,
I do really like Mayfield. I will say that.
He's good. I like him. His voice is kind of like nails on a chalkboard because he has that Boston accent. And he's from
like Space Boston, and it's
fine. Yeah, and I don't know. I'm not a huge Bill Burr fan, just in general. So I guess, seeing him.
I do like Bill Burr. I do like his comedy.
The episode quite a few times, and what he says in like the in the truck like comes into play later. He's like, what are you willing to do? He talks about the helmet and like, are you willing to take that off? Is it just a rule? You're obviously willing to do, change some things in order to get what you want. And then later in the show, we see, that.
Yeah, no, it's good stuff.
Well,
and then
in that episode, to be honest.
Yeah, and then we have they get attacked by like local like raiders, and I just did not like this scene. And I get it. It's kind of nice to establish that, Din, he's not in his Beskar, so he's not invincible anymore. So it's kind of nice to see that, but it just felt kind of unnecessary. Like they felt like they had to add in another action scene.
I don't understand are they pirates or are they like just like trying to just are they just trying to destroy the thing? Because it seemed like they were intent on blowing these things up.
See, I just assumed it's like they were local like raiders who just kind of do this stuff against the Empire because obviously their planet is getting mined for this stuff. So they're kind of just doing it, to hopefully get the Empire away is what I kind of took it as.
As someone who's going to spend the next 15 minutes shitting on this episode, I will say that I actually liked it because it kind of shows how locals are emboldened to fight against the Empire, which is kind of what you see at the end of Return of the Jedi.
Yeah,
I just thought it was like a stealing thing, and they kind of were stupid.
Yeah, I definitely
they were just trying to like revolt against it.
Yeah, I definitely like what you're saying there. That they are, they are emboldened to fight against the Empire, and I think that is really cool. But it's just kind of like they could have done it in other ways, I guess. And I guess this is a better way of like the Imperial captain later being like, "Oh, you're lucky you were able to get at it, make it through okay because there were a bunch of raiders and everything." So it's nice they didn't do that, but it felt a little goofy with Din throwing like playing catch with thermal detonators and everything.
Tristan, you did make a good point though. With the well, I can't remember what you said, but it kind of ties it ties into like like the Empire kind of feels like they're on their last like the emboldened thing. The Empire feels like it's on their last legs because they're just
Mhm.
they're getting trouble just from the local raiders, and they're having to like they're just barely holding them off.
Yeah, you can barely keep systems in line, whereas you used to have control over most of the galaxy.
Complete control, yeah.
Like,
Crazy.
yeah, even Outer Rim.
Yeah, it's
So it's like what we were talking about earlier with like the smaller and smaller ships. Like the Empire is you feel that they were defeated on Endor and then later Jakku.
well, until the TIE fighter cavalry comes in and just blows the locals straight to the frickin' Shadow Realm.
Yes. Banished with Yugi's grandpa.
Yeah, and then then they go in. They end up going in, and they're able to get the Gideon's coordinates from the terminal, but Din had to take off his helmet, which I guess it is, yeah, like it is kind of referenced like when Mayfield is talking to him and he's like, oh, what are you willing to like risk and everything and do? What are you willing to do? And obviously this is the first time like sentients have seen him without his helmet. And so it is a big deal. And I think it's very good that Din doesn't take his helmet off all the time. And they were able to give him like
It does
that
make it more impactful when he does it, yeah.
Yeah, because like because obviously at the end of the last season when he's near death and the IG droid is able to fix him, yeah, it's like a loophole because the droid isn't and I liked that. I liked that they did that as well at the end of last season. Like they spare his helmet coming off for big moments. It's like kind of like akin to Master Chief in a way, but obviously we don't see Master Chief's face ever, but it's kind of similar to that where like it's a big deal when his helmet comes off, and I like that. And
I still don't quite feel like it's been earned because I don't know his relationship with Baby Yoda. I don't know if it's enough to carry or enough for me to believe that he cares about Baby Yoda enough. Like obviously he does through his actions, and like he's willing to do a lot for him.
I mean, if this were just like a 2-hour movie and this were all like scrunched together, I'd say yeah. But because we've had like the TV show, we definitely had some time to like get to believe that Mando gives a crap about Yoda or Baby Yoda.
Maybe if it was more than just fetch quests. I think this is more a criticism of the show in general, where the plot is very low and the fetch quest is very high, where they're just doing random shit, as opposed to like strengthening the relationship with each other.
Yeah, Baby Yoda definitely got like pushed to the side a little bit in this season, for sure. But I thought the parts where they did have character development were really effective.
Well, to be frank, I still don't know why Mando stole Baby Yoda back from the first place. So that's a gripe from season 1 that I have.
No, because he was a foundling himself, and he feels like he has like an obligation to protect Baby Yoda and save him, like he was saved.
Well, he is a foundling, and he was saved by the Death Watch, but at the same time, Baby Yoda is just a bounty.
It was pretty obvious in the show when he's getting like his armor remade. He's like having his like flashbacks to when he was saved as a kid. So
I still disagree.
Yoda the same way, or Baby Yoda the same way.
Yeah, I'm definitely on. Well, just to vote you off the island, I'm in agreement with Keith here. I think it works. I think it works well.
Shit.
So sorry, we're sending you out on the raft. Sorry, goodbye.
Fine, I'll leave the party.
Yeah, we'll send you down the river, but not in a Moses way.
I know.
But no, yeah, kind of with all that, I like it.
How about that table scene?
Yeah, I was gonna say the table scene I did really like. Obviously the cocky Imperial captain is like, "Oh, I love committing war crimes during Operation Cinder."
You two talk about it first, then I'll give my thoughts.
I mean, I liked it. I think the dude was a little too like supervillain evil monologue-y about it. But I don't know. I like it.
He's the right guy to do it though, I don't
No,
know the guy's name. He's always like that sleazy guy in every movie.
I don't know.
It's a
It's
very thick Southern accent.
yeah, that I also didn't like that. Like no
Oh, no British accent for the Imperial. I just realized
yeah,
that.
the Imperials, like they can have like like a generalized American accent, that's fine. But to have
Oh,
one have a hey y'all
they're on the
kind of
outer rim.
accent
It's fine.
To the Empire.
to the Empire. I love committing war crimes during Operation Cinder.
Yeah, I'm fine with him like having like that kind of accent, like a wild space accent or whatever.
Oh yeah,
That's fine.
We
that's
went mud riding on Minban. Like,
yeah, no, that's a very little gripe for me, but I think he gets a little too over the top in his like gloating.
to give my
Uh,
thoughts on it, I hate this scene, to be honest with you. To me, it makes no sense because like the moral question here is like, how far are you willing to go for the Empire? And like Mayfield is like, was it really worth it? Is the Empire really good? And they're like, yeah, the Empire's so strong and stuff. Like, why is this a moral question you could be having? And why is Operation Cinder your breaking point when Alderaan was a thing? Like, clearly the Empire's blowing up planets prior to Operation Cinder saying goodbye to Iden Versio or whatever's planet and lasering a bunch of other planets, literally obliterating a planet. I feel is a little worse than whatever Operation Cinder half-ass tried to do.
I kind of agree there, and I think it would have been more effective if we knew anything about Operation Cinder.
oh, it's
It's in Battlefront 2's
Yeah,
campaign.
I know it.
don't blame
I know
you for
it's
not knowing
no.
about it.
I know it's from that, and I know it's basically like the Empire basically is just supposed to destroy itself because that's what that's what Palpatine wants, because his whole thing in canon is more or less, well, if I can't have it, no one can, so he's just going to blow it all up. So
Despite him being immortal.
yeah, exactly. And
it makes no sense because he's like apparently alive at this time or something. So why is he
exactly. So just when they're
current
talking about it, because in the game, as far as I know, and I never completed the campaign because it sucked. Not the campaign
It does.
itself, but the gameplay for Battlefront 2 sucks. Keith and I discussed this on our
Sure.
our hot
Also
take
fair, it
episode.
does.
So I just never played it because the game I just thought was boring. But I'm pretty sure Operation Cinder is only shown affecting one planet. So if maybe in something somewhere it's told that, oh, Operation Cinder killed more people than like 100 Death Stars, then yeah, this dude gloating about it could be like a super bad thing. Like, but we only see it affect one planet where we've already seen the Empire destroy one planet, I guess is my kind of point on it.
My issue more so is like why Mayfield has such an issue with Operation Cinder.
Right. Well, it's kind of obvious from his delivery and the way he's talking about it that he's he has personal experience. He was probably ordered to do some messed up stuff by this this guy, this his commander.
It's still true, but at the same time,
Probably
5 years ago,
raising X,
prior to this,
sharpshooter,
the Death Star's blowing up planets. So like, to me, it doesn't really resonate with me that Mayfield has such a strong conviction against the Empire because of Operation Cinder when they've been doing fucked up shit that's very obvious for a very long time prior.
Yeah, and I guess
it was because it was like empire on empire violence, maybe, right?
That could have been it. Or otherwise, the only other thing I could think of, and this is basically just me like making up a motivation for the character when I have no reason to, but I guess to kind of play devil's advocate, maybe it's Operation Cinder was like the straw that broke the camel's back, where it's like, oh, you blow up one planet, that's fine, but one more.
I feel like this would be a lot better if the Empire was given like any characterization other than like dark side, I'm evil. As in like Superman.
And I think it would have also made sense if it would have been Din who shot this Imperial guy, because he's talking about, genociding planets, when obviously in canon there was like the Empire genocided Mandalorians. So I think it would.
So petrified in that scene, he can't even think straight.
I guess that makes sense. He's flipping shit because he took his hat off. But no, I think it would have been better served if Din killed him. Is kind of my big point I'm making there. So what were you gonna say, Keith?
Well, also with his background and like the
think that would
Shepherd is
make sense
attacking
at all.
You don't? You don't think that would have made sense?
Yeah, no. like definitely Mayfield doing it makes a lot of sense because it's his old ex-commander and stuff, and he kind of, kind of brings up some stuff that he's pissed about. I guess he's in a stressful situation, but that's kind of just reading into stuff and doing like over explaining. I just really like the scene because it's so tension filled, and even though there's not like freaking Din doesn't really say anything, you get this this little exchange between him, this little glance between him and Mayfield. I thought that was cool. And then afterwards they get kind of a little bit of a buddy cop thing going because they get this little extra bond because Mayfield saw Mando when he was at his most vulnerable. So I just think that's interesting. I really like the scene. Very much tension.
Yeah, in general, I liked it. It's just, I thought the Imperial Commander, Captain, whatever, it just felt a little too over the top for me, personally, but I think overall the scene was good. But I'm not, super down on it. I thought it was, on a scale of, 1 to 10, it was like a 7.2 scene. It was good.
Well,
It was better than average.
We have the trifecta here.
Yeah, so Keith is super high on it. Tristan hates it. And then I'm not necessarily in the middle, but I liked it, but I didn't love it. But I definitely thought it was good. And then they obviously escape from the mining thing, and then Mayfield decides that he's going to stay behind.
Oh wait, but you're forgetting him blowing up the whole place.
Oh yeah, he blows it all. He blows it all up. Yeah.
We all gotta sleep at night.
Yeah, and then so yeah, they get away, and then Cara Dune decides to let him go, which makes her a pretty shitty space cop.
No, he died.
To be fair, it's not like they're setting him loose on the galaxy. They're leaving him on this little planet.
Yeah, to be
What
killed.
are you guys talking about? He's dead.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's
Yeah. So then we get a neat little scene where where Din sends Moff Gideon a transmission saying that he's coming for the kid, and it's he gives him a heroic speech, and I thought it was okay. It was kind of cheesy.
Yeah,
and I
what he means to me.
Yeah, and I didn't they shouldn't have had that, because one, then you're telling them that you're coming, so you're kind of giving up your element of surprise there.
Which is what they used to get into the ship.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know. It was too cheesy, and I don't think they should have done it. They should have just ended it a different way where, they're like, "Oh, so what's next?" And then, they just kind of end it. So overall, I didn't like this episode. It's probably, honestly, I think I like this one less than the previous episode. When I went back and we started talking about it, that kind of clicked in my head. So this is definitely my second favorite episode out of the season.
Second least favorite.
Second least favorite. Yeah, sorry. And
You're good.
What about the Boba Fett Sonic Boom scene? Sonic Charge or whatever, the depth mine or whatever it is.
Well, that's
The
always cool.
seismic charge, the orgasm noise.
Yeah, blah. Yeah, no, that's always cool. But it couldn't save this episode.
To wrap up, I think going back a little bit, the face scan thing makes absolutely no sense.
Oh yeah,
I don't know why.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why we didn't mention that, because Din, who is not an Imperial, is able to have his face scanned and get this classified information.
I think the way the system works is that they scan for people who are in the wanted registry. So you could just scan any bloke, as long as he's not wanted by the Empire. He can get sensitive information out of the console. I don't know why it works like that. It's really dumb.
And he has no record because he's like a space Amish person.
Yeah.
I feel like the system should authenticate whether or not you're a high-ranking Imperial.
Oh,
because
yeah, definitely.
It's like trying to find where Darth Vader is at this point of what the Empire State's in. No random bloke should be able to say, all right, Darth Vader is currently meditating on the Executor parked right outside of Renvar or some shit.
Yeah. It's definitely a pretty glaring plot hole there.
It's definitely just like like Tristan, you had mentioned it earlier. It's a contrivance that happens after a contrivance, just for them to be able to figure out where Moff Gideon is.
The whole episode's full of them, and that's why I really don't like it. It feels very trite and contrived.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is still one of my favorite episodes of the whole, season and the series. I've watched it like 3 times already. I just really enjoy it.
Sure. All right. So this time it looks like looks like it's Keith who's getting shot off the island.
No.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. Set you out on you're going out on the raft. So yeah, that's ours. General thoughts there on chapter 15, which then of course is going to bring us to chapter 16, the big huge finale. This was directed by Peyton Reed, written by Jon Favreau. So it starts off, and Din and Cara Dune board a Imperial shuttle and capture Dr. Pershing, who apparently they know where he is as well. I don't remember if that was something that was on the terminal as well.
He also just disappeared.
Yeah.
Who remembers these things?
Yeah, so they end up doing that. They capture him. It's nice that they are able to prevent him from like killing himself and like dying, and he's able to obviously like come into play, and then they go like right from there they go to get help from
Dr. Pershing doesn't try to kill himself. He's held hostage by one of the Imperials.
That's what it is. Yeah. And then
and then like he talks like smack to Gina Carano about Alderaan.
Yeah.
A little too much, kind of a little cringy there,
Yeah, it's one of those things again where it's too like super villainy.
Yeah,
especially when he's been kind of like this
burn.
It's kind of just this character is weird to me because he's kind of like cowardish, and like you kind of get the idea that the Empire's just kind of like hiring him out to handle midichlorian stuff.
Yeah.
But then it does like really weird things where he's like, I did the baby, he's gone. I'm the reason why he's alive. Don't kill me, Mando. And then he says shit like, Alderaan looks nice. Oh wait.
Yeah.
It's a very strange character.
Dr. Pershing, the doctor dude didn't say that.
Oh shit.
No,
right.
it was the pilot or whatever. Yeah.
He shot the other pilot and then was holding the doctor hostage.
Yeah.
Okay, never mind. Pershing is not a weird character.
No, he is weird. He is weird, and I'll tell you why. This bothered me so much. He's wearing sunglasses in space, and I don't know why, but that just bothered me. Like I've been holding on to that since I watched that. It's like, why does he have these stupid Ozzy Osbourne sunglasses in space when no one ever wears sunglasses in space? I just did not like that. Like. Oh, that just bothered me for no reason. It's not important. It's not important at all. Like they made him like a quirky doctor with sunglasses, but I just hated his sunglasses, and I've been holding on to that since like December.
Now the thing to me, and now I just barely realize it.
Yeah, exactly. He wears sunglasses. But anyways, from there they go and they get Bo-Katan and the other female Mandalorian. Do they give her a name?
I don't even know if they mentioned her. The dude is just gone now.
Yeah, the dude is gone, so it's just Bo-Katan and the other Mandalorian girl, and they end up
disrespecting my boy Boba.
Yeah.
Which I kind of felt it's kind of weird because like Mandalorians are kind of like anybody can be a Mandalorian, right? I think, but then they're like disrespecting Boba for being a clone or something, or
that's because Bo-Katan's a bitch.
She really was.
I will never not say that.
And to be fair, it is dumb that Boba's a clone. So
yeah, but it's such a big part of the lore at this point, you can't get away from it. But
I wish I could.
I hate them disrespecting Boba and kind of like by extension Jango, because like all the canon Mandos are like basically Jango Fett LARPers anyway.
No canon Mandalorian is as cool as Jango Fett. I will say that to my brother.
Like They all kind of look like him. They use the double blasters that even use the same
Mhm.
sound effects as his blasters.
Yeah. Well, I think that's more. I don't think that's really on them as characters. I think that's just the way they were designed because they were like, what if everyone looked like Jango Fett?
I know. I hate the disconnect. I hate the fact that they're heavily based on Django and then they're here disrespecting.
That
the
is
Well,
something.
it's because in the story they're not based on Django. They're just Mandalorians. Django
I know.
is one of them. So,
I know.
but no, it's basically they end up getting them to help because Bo-Katan will get Gideon's ship and the Darksaber, and Din might help her take Mandalore back.
Yeah, they should have just not had her do it because she wants this Darksaber in the ship so bad, but she's like just sitting around in a bar, just waiting for someone to come along and say, "Oh, it's here."
Bo-Katan's a bitch.
But no. So they end up going around and they get them to help, and then they use the shuttle that the Doctor was captured in, and they crash land into the hangar because Boba Fett pretends to attack them using Slave One, obviously. And basically we get like an extended action scene, which I thought was really, really well done here. A lot better than a lot of the stuff that happened in the previous episode. And I liked it. And we get the scene where Bo-Katan, other female Mando, Fennec, and Cara Dune they fight through stormtroopers on the way to the bridge. And we get this dumb scene where Cara Dune's blaster like jams. I thought that was it was just dumb because like
I thought it was funny.
It happens in like the Star Wars Battlefront 2 game as like if you fail, but that's like a gameplay mechanic. I think it's goofy when that happens in Star Wars because like these aren't
Mr. Skill Check.
they aren't. Yeah. She hit X at the wrong time, and
I don't think we ever see anybody reloading in The Mandalorian anyway.
No, because Mando runs out of ammo with the.
Right? She wasn't like loading anything in there. She was just like hitting it to unjam it or whatever. What is she unjamming?
Yeah, she just smacks it.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense as to and Keith, you said it perfectly. What is she unjamming? Like it doesn't make sense, and I hate it. Like yeah, in a video game, reloading and overheating that works as like a game mechanic. Otherwise, everyone's OP. But in the movies, no one ever does it. Like Han Solo, he never reloads his DL-44.
Probably just
Mando reloads his blaster and gets from the tank troopers.
Like let's have a scene where she just like has to unjam her rifle or whatever.
Yeah, and then
they like breathe through all the stormtroopers.
They breathe through them like nothing. Again, showing that stormtroopers are completely inconsequential. And I guess just as my little like side tangent, old man like yells at Cloud thing, I see so many dumb comments about the scene because they're like, I didn't even know it was all females until someone pointed it out. It's like, no, it's it's them trying to pretend that these 4 characters are like somehow really especially cool, that they transcend being a female. Like, and I get it.
They're
like
all fucking cardboard.
Yeah, like none of them have like especially great characters. Like Cara Dune could like she literally, if you want to talk about Mando being a player character, Cara Dune seems like a very OC character. Like that's someone's character they would make for like a Star Wars role-playing game. Like, oh, she was from Alderaan, but Alderaan blew up, so she gets the Alderaan tear tattoo.
They are kind of a bunch of little like Ahsoka clones running around, basically.
Yeah, so that's my little thing is like people trying to like make it, I guess, like a quasi-political statement of look how well written these cardboard female characters are. Compared to
they're not like Rey, they're written well.
Yeah, and
like,
but they're
kind of just there.
Yeah, just because they're like badass females doesn't make them well-written characters.
Yeah, and I don't know. That's just my thing. Is like I saw so many posts about that, and it just seemed to be like a very like people are trying to make this scene controversial for no reason. And it's
in
like,
fairness, I didn't know they were all females either. But at the same time, it's just because I'm a dense fuck. Because I didn't know that the same thing happened in Endgame. where it was literally like 50 women on screen and no men whatsoever.
Yeah, and
So I
that's
just
that's
don't
what I
notice this
always
shit.
that's what I always saw people pointing it out too, and it's like, and I guess that's when I finally realized, I'm like, wait, people didn't like that scene. Like it was a very like like when I was watching it, it's like a very uncontroversial scene, but people had to make it out to be, oh, this is a big political statement. Girls on my screen with no men, how dare they?
I just don't care.
It's like I could, and here's my
I
thing
noticed,
is,
but it didn't bother me.
yeah, and even if you do notice, like, what does it matter if they are or aren't? Like no one cares when it's Han Solo and Luke Skywalker on screen. Like, who cares if it's all dudes, or when it's, Mandalorian and Boba Fett doing stuff? Like, no one cares, and people try and make that scene out to be like this big win for well-written females because reasons.
They're all
But
they're all just like holding down the blaster buttons and just
Yeah.
like,
So in short, we hate both sides of the spectrum here.
we exactly. And so then we to get on from that, we get Mandalorian. I keep calling him Mandalorian. I hate it.
Me too.
Din is going through, and it's at this point that Gideon releases the Dark Troopers, which I think are really cool. They have the soundtrack for the Dark Troopers is gonna become like a new iconic thing.
It's very, very, very good.
It's like a really no, guys, we're not a keyboard. But no, it's like a very good mix of like keyboard synth noises with like kind of more traditional like Star Wars orchestral stuff, and it works
and
so
just some
well.
straight up like mechanical sound.
Yeah, and I was gonna say like some like literally like metal on metal like sounds. It works so well, and it if you want to talk about tension, like that created like a ton of tension. It was awesome. Like that music by itself could make this episode, like, for me.
The music is by far the best thing about this show. It is so consistently good.
It was different. It was good, but it didn't like blow me away or anything. But I thought it was neat.
It worked really well, and of course, Mando, he's able to fight one off, but just barely. And I point this out because I'm gonna circle back to it later. But he barely can beat one, and then he has to use all of his tricks. Like he uses his what's his little wrist thing called again? The flying
wrist rocket. Oh,
the little whistling birds. Yeah, I was thinking whispering, but he uses.
Effective.
Yeah, it's not ineffective. It is ineffective, but it's able to like buy him a second, and then he ends up killing it with the spear, which is why did he bring the spear? But
so he can fight Moff Gideon.
So he can fight Moff Gideon. Yeah. So then he gets in there, and Gideon has Grogu held at dark saber point, and then we end up getting
with little Billy Cuff.
Yeah,
I don't care about anything. Just give me the child.
Yeah, and again, that's where it gets a little too cheesy, I think, with their relationship, and it tries to go a little ham-fisted in explaining that Din like cares for Grogu in that scene, and then
I thought it was an interesting angle that Gideon was willing to do it, and like he steps aside and says, "All right, take the shot. I got what I want from him. Just get off my ship."
Well, as soon as he said that, I'm like,
yeah.
Oh no, continue. Sorry.
But what I don't like is that he immediately turns around and like starts hacking at his armor.
Because he's the bad guy.
I know, but I don't know how you get an actor this great and then give him such a one-dimensional character that you do nothing with.
Just show him like screaming, doing an overhead chop.
He's such a good actor, though, and he was so good in Breaking Bad, and he really carries the performance. But like, there's nothing there for him to work with on the script because he's just a one-dimensional villain for Mando to fight.
Yeah.
Yeah, nothing too like amazing, but pretty enjoyable sequence.
Yeah, and
the action sequence is fine. Yeah.
Yeah, and then Mando beats him and then brings him to the bridge. And obviously
Bo-Katan's pissed because he's holding the darksaber.
Yeah, that was, I think, the dumbest thing. And this is where, Bo-Katan's a bitch. But it is just so dumb that she's like, oh, I can't take it I think it's funny because Gideon says that, and you know, oh, it's just his
He's like
delivery.
really
His
enjoying it.
delivery of the lines is exactly. He's like enjoying it, and I think that was just. That was
This
awesome.
is my favorite bit with him. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
and
think
Yeah,
this is the
good
one
stuff.
chance you get like really get character out of him. Is this whole sequence for the rest of the episode with him in the bridge?
yeah,
I think
his
it's an outstanding moments.
his acting is just on point. I want to give the actor credit, but I can't pronounce his name.
Neither can I.
Juan Carlo Esposito.
Oh
Or
my,
Giancarlo Esposito.
oh my God, Keith coming in clutch with the
Yeah, you could go either way with
He's got
Giancarlo or
everyone.
Juan Carlo.
yeah, like he came in clutch with the Spanish pronunciation. But no, he's
But yeah,
so
no,
good.
he's great.
He's so good.
I think like I said, I think his character is horribly underwritten, and I think it's a wasted potential. But in these moments, he's so fucking fun to watch.
Yeah,
Mostly because I hate Bo-Katan.
but no, and then of course, in order to beat the Dark Troopers, and everyone thought the Dark Troopers were beaten, and I was honestly like surprised about this. Din sends them out in airlock, which of course, as we know in Star Wars, you need to get rid of a bunch of people. That's the way to do it. And like honestly, I forgot about them because like I was like, this is the nothing can go wrong moment. And then he's like, yeah, you dumbass, they're droids with like rocket boots. And then they all re-enter, and it's awesome. Like the music with them walking towards the bridge. Oh, it's perfect. I don't know
His face watching
his
them.
face. Yeah, he's like
he's like, we know that the only thing's going to happen is that everyone in this room except me is going to be dead.
yeah, it was
Whatever the
just
line is.
yeah, it was really good. Like I loved this. Like this whole leading up, it's so tense. And you're thinking to yourself, like, how are they going to fix this? Like, this is like, there's a squad of them. And Din, like, he was strained beating one. Well, obviously, we're going to fucking tell you what happens and how they beat him because an X-Wing pulls out of hyperspace. And as soon as I saw that, anyone who says they were surprised, it's like, have you even seen Star Wars? As soon as the X-Wing pulled in, like, I was hyped. Like, I was like...
Me too.
I was surprised, and I was just thinking it was a New Republic Ranger or something.
See, I would love to see a cut
No,
of...
I knew it was fucking Luke.
Yeah, I would love to see a cut of this where like a New Republic Ranger shows up and just gets like gunned down
Dave
immediately.
Filoni just comes out of the ship.
Oh my god! And then he dies. No,
Death by a bunch of dark troopers.
that would be what happens if I would have wrote this episode.
Me too.
No, but no. So then obviously, like as soon as it was the X-wing, like
yeah,
I knew like it's and my I watched it in our living room with my brother at our house, and he was like, "Oh, is it Ahsoka?" And I was like, "You idiot!" And then you fool. And then I wish they did not give Cara Dune that cheesy line of "It's just one X-wing. Is that going to save the day or whatever?"
X-wing, we're saved.
No.
I wish she wouldn't have said that because like
I know I love that line.
you love it. I hated it. I did not like it. Like as soon as I saw that, I was like, ugh.
I thought it was funny.
Maybe it's because I knew it was so obvious that it was going to be Luke that I was like, shut up. Don't belittle him like that. He's going to save the day.
Good writing overrides bad line delivery.
And I could definitely see that. Like I would not disparage anyone from liking that line. I just really don't like it. And then of course we get I don't know why. It seems like they were trying to hide that it was Luke, but as soon as you show his right hand with the black glove and his lightsaber hilt, it's like everyone knows it's Luke.
You know.
It was a little mysterious at first because the cameras were in black and white, but then yeah, once they show the glove and then yeah,
the green lightsaber. Like he's the only Jedi of after like the prequels that has a green lightsaber. So it's like yeah, he's the most famous green lightsaber user. Of course it's Luke. And he does work.
Except for all the Rebels fans who are like, oh my god, it's Ezra.
No, it's Qui-Gon.
Yeah.
Oh shit, he's back.
No. No, and of course
it's Luke fucking Skywalker.
It's Luke. He makes the Dark Troopers look like chumps. And this is where I talked about it earlier. I don't think the Ahsoka and the Darth Vader, and even the Darth Maul, like fight scenes against non-Force users, I don't think they work because those people that they're fighting against, that they're killing, and it's so cool and awesome, it doesn't work for me because those characters are never shown to be threats to Jedi and Force
They're
users.
just cannon fodder. Yeah.
They're cannon fodder. And like those people have no realistic chance of beating that character. And so it just doesn't work for me. And the thing I like with the Dark Troopers is they're shown to be a threat. Not necessarily to Jedi, of course, but like they're shown to be threatening to even like, you know, Din Djarin. He's like the main character, like the star of the show. He's the Mandalorian. And he has to...
It seems like they were designed to detect Jedi or Force users because they would capture Baby Yoda, and then when Luke shows up on the ship, all the Dark Troopers like turn towards, you know, the hangar, right? Because they sense that he's there or something.
I don't think it's that. I think it's just... Well, they could find Baby Yoda because they knew where the Razor Crest was. And then they turn to Luke because I think it's just they register a threat, not necessarily they register Jedi. I think is what it is. I definitely
They
don't
have like communications, like a hive mind sort of thing.
Yeah, so it wouldn't surprise me if, like, you know, they were inside like the ship's security system or something, or like their sensors are just able to pick up like, you know, a ship just landed in the hangar. I don't think they can sense Jedi. I think that would be really goofy.
Oh, okay.
It depends on how they would do it. They could just be like,
imagine
"Oh,
that.
okay, several of our units are shutting down."
Yeah, and that's another good point. Yeah, like, yeah. So Luke does work on these actual things that we show are dangerous to main characters, and
He
it
just
works.
skirts them aside like they're nothing.
Yeah, and it's very good because even, you know, to like a well-trained Jedi, like, yeah, these guys, they're nothing more than like another battle droid. And Luke goes through them, and then, well, you don't know it's Luke, but then yeah, he opens up the hangar door, and he takes off his hood to reveal wonky CGI young Luke.
Don't care. It's Luke.
Yeah, it's Luke. For like a second, when he was about to take off his hood, I was like, did they get Sebastian Stan? I wonder if they got Sebastian Stan. And
I was thinking that too.
And I honestly thought they were going to, because like that's
for you.
Yeah, that's been like a thing that people have wanted to see, like Sebastian Stan be like a young Luke Skywalker. So when he was walking in, I'm like, I wonder if they did it and just didn't tell anyone and kept it a really good secret. And they didn't. But I love that it was Mark Hamill doing the voice.
Yeah, they did a really good job of not making him sound like old Mark Hamill.
Well, and that's the thing I was really like impressed with, because ever since like the 90s, I would say, whenever you see Mark Hamill, he doesn't sound like Luke Skywalker. He sounds like vaguely like the Joker whenever he speaks.
Years of doing the Joker voice like altered his vocal cords.
Yeah. And even with like sequel Luke, like sometimes like his voice got that, I don't know what it is, if it's like it's not like a raspiness or anything, but kind of like a hoarseness, I guess.
The sacred Jedi text.
Yeah, like exactly. It's like, I don't know if it's just like, that's, and it could just be where it's, like the Luke voice isn't Mark Hamill's natural like speaking tone and like his inflections.
He's probably just raising his voice a few octaves.
Yeah,
and he is a really talented voice actor too.
Very.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it was awesome, and obviously people ask like,
you should pick up some power converters.
Yeah, no, but I think because obviously Luke is able to find them because him and Grogu connect when he's like doing the Seeing Stone thing. So obviously that's how they're able to find each other, in case anybody didn't pick up on that, which is pretty obvious because that's what they went to Tython for.
It's just satisfying to see Luke being Luke. Like, he's not being written significantly. He's not doing anything really other than being a hero, which is frankly all I need at this point.
A hero and a calm, confident and peaceful Jedi master.
Working to build his own order.
Yeah,
like he would have to do.
Yeah, and the thing, and Keith hit it perfectly. is even though he just spent, minutes cutting through all these droids, once he opens the door, he's like calm, cool, and collected. And I
Because
think
he's not even breathing heavily.
well, when you cut him up like a frickin' ham, you don't gotta exert yourself.
That's true.
But no, I have no idea who the body actor they got for him was, but he did a very good job. Like, I think the choreography that they did for him was very good, and the thing I liked is when he's swinging his saber, when he's doing all that stuff, it seems like it's more akin to like the OT in terms of choreography. Like, obviously, if this would have been done,
Yeah.
15 years ago, Luke would have been doing, crazy ass flips and, all that stuff. But I'm
He's
glad.
got both hands on the saber. It's very authentic.
He was very much doing Luke Jedi moves. The way he does the chops were very much like Luke's chops from the movies.
Yeah, no, it was very good in that way. But no, then basically after that we just have like a very good, and I know Tristan, you're probably gonna dump on our happy praising Pedro Pascal acting. He's very upset, but he's obviously willing to give Grogu up to Luke. And I just thought it was a really well acted scene. Like, Pedro Pascal is probably one of my favorite like active actors at the moment. Like, he kind of gets himself into any role, like even like smaller stuff. Like, he was on an episode of Law and Order that I watched a couple months ago. He was really good in that. Obviously, of course, he's in Narcos, really good in that. Of course,
obviously Game of Thrones.
Obviously, he was in Game of Thrones, even though Game of Thrones kind of sucks.
He was just in Wonder Woman 1984.
Yeah, I did not see that, but I'm sure he was good in it.
I haven't seen it either, so.
Yeah,
I'm just glad, despite my issues with their relationship and Mando's a character, that Luke is rebuilding in order.
Oh yeah,
So
and no, it's really good. It's a really well acted scene. And then
like the tear and like Baby Yoda touching his face, that was very powerful.
It's sweet.
Yeah, no, it was nice because obviously, like, like he basically has to, like, I don't know, like, get permission from the Mando to go.
It reminded me of Anakin leaving Shmi.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah. Very impactful. I really gave a shit about the characters in that moment. It's really good stuff.
Yeah. And then
I was more so just like, oh my god, it's Luke Skywalker.
That's true. And then the one thing that I didn't like about this scene is they kind of shoved R2-D2 in there, and I didn't really like that.
I don't care. Luke is with R2.
Yeah,
I usually bitch about nostalgia, but it works. I don't care.
I liked it because it made Luke's, kind of made Luke seem more friendly to Baby Yoda. Baby Yoda, he sees R2 and he's like, oh, ooh, that's neat.
Ooh, this thing is gonna make goofy noises at me.
But let's go back with a stick.
He looks like a mini version of Master Yoda.
Yeah. Well, then he's probably traumatized because the only time he ever saw Yoda, he beat him with a stick. Mine. Fighting him over a nasty, like, no, it's like a flashlight that he tries to grab from him.
Yeah, it's a flashlight.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the flashlight. That's right.
Yeah, because he tries to steal Luke's like nasty looking hot dog ration pack thing. But no, I thought this, obviously to give like my big thoughts on this episode, I thought it was really good. The action in it was really good, obviously minus Cara Dune's blaster jamming for no reason other than for them to have like the silly moment of, oh, if I hit it enough, I'll fix it. But other than that, I thought it was really good. Obviously, of course, Gideon, like Tristan, like you said, even though his character isn't like amazing, the acting for him, especially once he gets to the bridge, is like so good because he kind of breaks his kind of like calm demeanor to gloat a little bit, and it's not over the top though.
I love the dichotomy between it where he's like, oh yeah, everybody except the child and me are gonna be dead, and then Kara's like, oh, it's only one X-wing, and then he's like, oh fuck, it's only one X-wing. And then
really
all of his words proceed to get.
Oh, I'm sorry, I cut you off.
And then all the Dark Troopers die. That's it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I just really liked the ending shots with. I don't know if it was if the last shot was like the elevator closing on Luke and Baby Yoda, or if the last shot was like looking at Din's like dejected face as you're like kind of panning out or whatever. But I liked both of those a lot.
Very happy ending. I can't wait to see Grogu go on in life as a Jedi Master with the
Yeah, yeah.
flourishing Jedi
I wonder
Order.
where he'll be in about 15 years or so.
Yeah, nothing bad could happen to him.
None.
Yeah, but no. Maybe he survives that too. I mean, he survived Order 66. He could probably survive that too.
Right?
We used the fucking terrible time travel to rectify everything and
No.
make sure that the growth didn't
No.
happen.
No.
I will sacrifice it.
He'll time travel and he'll have Rey like sell BB-8 in The Force Awakens or something.
I will say though, I think this is my favorite episode of the show.
Yeah, oh, yeah, definitely. It like
I bitch a lot about the nostalgia and like Mandalorian's tendency to rely on it for a lot of things, but in this case, I just don't care.
Plot-wise, it was a little too simple with like their assault on the cruiser. Like basically once they get on there, Din has no resistance against him as he goes to like the brig or whatever, and then the female squad basically just destroys everything and pretty much just takes over the entire ship by themselves.
Yeah, it definitely didn't make sense to me that there was no resistance on the way to the brig, because obviously that's supposed to be like their important thing.
Yeah, and their reason in the show is that the Mandos and the women people are distracting everyone on the ship by assaulting it, I guess.
And they do say that the crew is much smaller than it should be.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. Skeleton crew, I believe. I don't know where I was going.
You were talking about plot.
Oh, right, plot. Yeah. But the stuff at the end, like the Dark Troopers and Luke coming on, and then just the emotional ending, really helps to cap it off. And I just thought it was a really strong season finale. Definitely, because like the season 1 finale was pretty good and had like some emotional moments, like with the IG droid. But this definitely was able to stay at that same level of quality, and I would say maybe even go further than that, right? Like improved.
Yeah. Obviously, I have my misgivings with the show, so I only have a tendency to care about the things that have a nostalgia factor attached to them, like Ahsoka or Luke. So this is by far my favorite episode that they've aired.
Yeah, sure. So that does it for the big season finale, episode 16. And so I guess kind of with the ending of that episode, I guess to kind of just wrap up here, my overall things for season 2 is that I think I definitely liked it more than season 1. I think there were a couple episodes in it that I really didn't like. The episode before the finale, episode 15, did not care for it. Didn't like the Ahsoka episode either. And obviously, since it's Dave Filoni, since he's working on this, of course he's going to ham-fist Ahsoka into it, because he's got to get Ahsoka into everything. And but
to be honest,
yeah, and just overall, I really enjoyed it. Like, there was never, even with the Ahsoka episode, like I never had to like strain myself watching it. And granted, I think overall the show has been very good, even if like it does have some not great stuff. I think for the most part, it ends up being a very, very good viewing experience. And when you have stuff like Luke Skywalker showing up, obviously that's going to kick in the nostalgia for me and all that, and it is very good. And overall, season 2, I would definitely say it was good. It was very good, and I don't have any any super huge plot problems with it. It's just more the plot of individual episodes, and it would have been nice if maybe they cut out one of the filler episodes, and I don't know what they would have added, or maybe just had one less episode, because it didn't do filler as bad, I think, as season 1, because season 1 did at times feel a little aimless, where with this one, at least there was a more of a big plot for them to kind of do stuff. And yeah, there were detours, and if they would have had one less, I think this season would have had a bit better pacing. But that's just me. I guess. What are your guys' opinions overall on season 2?
It does feel tighter, like with the exception of like 2 Fish Lady, or if not Fish Lady, Frog Lady episodes. The overarching plot is a lot more tight, I would say. Yeah, you can go ahead and go, Q.
Oh, well, it's definitely different than season 1. The way season 1 is like arranged. Season 1 kind of did the whole thing where it has like the arc in like the first 3 episodes, and then just 4 filler episodes in the middle, and then like arc in the last 2 episodes or whatever. And the filler episodes kind of don't matter, but I do appreciate that at least season 1 they kind of don't really matter to the overall arc of the story. But I like that season 2 calls back to pretty much every filler episode from season 1. That was cool. They did do filler episodes better this season. And yeah, I guess I would have to say it's overall better than season 1. Even if it has, it's definitely more consistent. Yeah, definitely more consistent than season 1. Yeah, really enjoyed it. I would give it overall like an 8.5, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
I obviously have the most negative opinions about the show. I just think it's okay. I definitely think season 2 is better than season 1, but overall the show is just kind of like meh to me, or like mediocre, with some really big highlights. It's just nice to see something Star Wars that isn't just downright shitty. So I'll take it, I guess.
I think a lot of
But
fans
it's not a
would
show
agree
I'm
with
particularly passionate about. And I think every time somebody says, "Oh, it's the greatest Star Wars we've gotten since Return of the Jedi," I think I have an aneurysm.
Yeah, I guess as far as like
Someone say something more positive, please.
as far as live action, I guess I could I think I would say I prefer Solo over this. Over the Mandalorian. Which is probably gonna rustle some jimmies because people online have a hate boner for that movie. But no, I think this is really good live action Star Wars. As obviously I said. But yeah, if you agree or disagree, obviously let us know down in the comments like what you thought of the season, what you thought of the show as a whole. And I guess if you want to shit on Tristan for being so negative, it doesn't matter because he was voted off the island, so he's out adrift anyway.
Right.
So
feel free to anyway.
Yeah, but feel free to anyways, just to hurl some insults at him as he flows away.
Put it in a bottle and ship it out to sea, and they'll find it on land.
Yeah, he'll find it eventually. But no, I guess for me that wraps it up. Unless you guys have any other stuff that you want to get in before we finish it up here.
Nah, I'm good.
I just had like a little thing, like maybe just like how do you feel this compares to other TV shows that are like exclusive to streaming platforms?
Oh, okay. So like, what's an example? Like, what were you thinking?
Oh, I don't know, like maybe the Boys on Amazon, or what's a show on Netflix? It's like a big thing.
I'm excited for WandaVision.
Yeah, I guess off the top of my head, I can't really think of any streaming service exclusive things that have really
like Cobra Kai.
Yeah, honestly, like I'm kind of lame. I don't watch a lot of newer TV, so I guess I can't really think of a
5-year-old anime.
As far as streaming service exclusives, obviously, like the stuff from Disney Plus is probably always gonna, rank a bit higher just because it has that production value that's always going to be behind it.
That's very true. The Star Wars level of quality.
This is the reason why people have it.
Yeah. That's definitely true. I mean, I'm lucky. My aunt just lets us use her Disney Plus, so I don't have to worry about it.
Oh, there you go. She uses it for Hamilton.
So I get it for free, I guess. So take that, big businesses. But no, as far as other stuff to compare it to, I mean, I think it would be better than the typical streaming service stuff. I guess I've seen Daredevil. Daredevil's very good on Netflix. That wasn't a Netflix exclusive, was it? I don't even know. Yeah, it was because it got canceled.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Um,
that's true.
no, so that's about the only thing I could think to compare it to. They're both very, very good series that do very good stuff with their source material. So
Yeah, I just really appreciate the look of the show, the sets, the the production. Star Wars always just looks different from anything else, I guess, so it's probably not surprising.
Unless you live in California, then it's just like right
Right.
outside.
It's like, oh, that's my house right there.
It's just
They're
outside.
they're shooting Star Wars outside my house.
yeah, no. So all right, so now we're all done with stuff to add, right?
I think so.
Yep.
All right, perfect. So then obviously, I got to get the stuff out of the way here, but if you've been enjoying the content that we've been putting out, if you enjoyed this episode, give the video a like. If you would like to see more content, be told when it's coming out and everything. The channel right now, we're obviously trying to grow. I think we're at 50 subscribers, so woo, yeah, pizza party. I'm not paying for it though. Someone else pay for it. I'm not paying for it. But no,
Oh.
We're all
it,
broke.
yeah. But no, so obviously, if you've been enjoying the channel or anything, share it around. If you have any kind of like little social media things or any like Discord servers or anything, it does help a lot. If just sharing it around. If you have any siblings or anything that are interested in Star Wars, give us just give us a shout, just because to honestly get us, it would be nice to, I think I had mentioned it in the previous video, it'd be nice to get it going. Obviously I'm not expecting to be famous. I don't think any of us are. It's just to get us out there and maybe get some more discussions in the comments and everything. It's always fun because, again, as I mentioned in the previous video, I'm just down to talk about Star Wars all the time and argue with people who have terrible takes. So with that, this is Cade from the Legends Library signing off.
This is Tristan, and I will see you in 6 months.
This is Keith, knower of things, bidding you farewell.
All right, you guys, we will see you next time.